And to honor the most famous words in racing, NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, and former Kansas City Chief, Joe Montana. Joe, utter those famous words.
Wow. I'll tell you, that was great by Jessica. If that doesn't get you going, nothing will. I want to say on behalf of Coors Brewing, welcome to Kansas Speedway, home of the greatest fans of NASCAR. And I got one question. Are you ready to go racing? All right, gentlemen, start your engines.
Cars roar to life and the rumble of NASCAR thunders across the heartland of America. The second visit for the Winston Cup Series to Kansas. And now here are three guys just back from Oz that call it for you. Alan Bestwick, Wally Dallenbach, and Benny Parsons.
They're clicking our heels together, Bill. Thanks. Hey, let me throw another number at you. 13. That's how many cautions we had in the first running of this race a year ago. Almost all of them for crashes. We're going to see that same thing today?
Oh, I hope not. I hope we're going to see some better racing, not so much crashes. But we might, because the groove is still narrow. We found that out yesterday afternoon in the NASCAR Busch Series race. Just how slick it is up there. Christian Fittipaldi, the 30 car, tries to pass on the outside. It's too slick. He finds that out. And when two cars try to go in the corner side by side, the guy on the outside has to really squeeze down to try to find some grip. Todd Bodine was on the outside, Jack Sprague on the inside. They made contact, and around they go. So while these guys racing for the championship, they need to avoid that today.
Yeah, they're going to have to be patient because we're getting to the part of the year where any mistake can take them out of the championship. So they've got to be careful. I mean, they're going to have a lot of luck on their hands, but there's not that many races left. So if you have trouble, it's going to be hard to make those points up. So they're feeling the pressure.
So how will today's race factor into the big picture of the championship, and will someone make a mistake that takes them out of contention? The story begins to unfold next when NASCAR on NBC returns to the Kansas Speedway. Now the Walmart starting grid for today's race. Alongside Earnhardt Jr. on the front row, Jimmie Johnson, last week's winner. He scored more points than any other driver in super speedway races this season.
On the inside of row 2, Ryan Newman finished second here last year. And on the outside, Michael Waltrip, who's very good in practice.
Bill Elliott led early here last year, but fell out due to an engine problem. Dale Jarrett, he finished third last week at Dover. He's in row 3.
On the inside of row 4, Sterling Marlin, who ran so well last year, finished 5th. And Tony Stewart just 74 points back in that championship chase.
Championship leader Mark Martin's in row 5, along with the defending winner of this race, Jeff Gordon. Mark says he's not running all that well here. Jeff says he is and needs to win. Rusty Wallace looked like a contender to win last year. A late race penalty dropped him back, and Joe Nemechek in a Hendrick car, along with him in row 6.
On the inside of row 7 is Kurt Busch. Let's try talking to Kurt. Kurt, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Hey, VP and all of America, how you doing?
We're doing fantastic. How's the car?
We got a pretty good Ford underneath us. If we get some good pit stops from the Rubbermaid guys and make sure we stay out of trouble. You can see everybody stepped it up to their A game this weekend. Points are close. If we can just mind our P's and Q's, we'll get a good run out of this.
So what is the plan? We're going to see some two-tire stops, you think?
It'll be tough to gauge that just based upon how treacherous it is on sticker tires. So 4 tires early on, and we're up front, so we don't have to gamble on 2 tires. But we'll see towards the end of the race, it might come down to fuel mileage and stretching 2 tires.
Good luck, Kurt.
Got it, Benny.
Kurt Busch starting in the 13th spot today. Continuing to look at the starting lineup, Bobby Labonte in the 18 car will drop to the back of the field from row 16. He crashed in yesterday's final practice. The team had to pull out a backup car.
There's Kyle Petty driving the sponsor's car. In row 17, Johnny Benson, Mike Wallace in 18.
Now back to provisional land. Drivers who got in not on their time trial speed, but on their current point standings. Ken Schrader, not all that far from here. Fenton, Missouri, about 250 miles away. Closest Winston Cup track to his home.
Jerry Nadeau back in row 21 was one of the fastest cars in the practice session held here yesterday.
Let's get some final thoughts from pit road before we go green, starting with Marty Schneider.
Alan, Michael Waltrip is trying to get career win number 3, and he starts 4th in his favorite race car. Key to the race today, the second half of the race, because the racetrack will get tighter. Slugger Labbe said the guy who's fast then will obviously win the race. Matt?
Marty Bill Elliott's early season goal of a top 10 in the points could take a big charge here today. Although he has only one top 5 finish in his last 7 starts, he has the same race car today that won with at both Pocono and Indy, Dave.
Matt Dale Jarrett also has a favorite race car. It's this one. It won at Pocono after starting unlucky 13th. It won at Michigan after spinning through the grass. And he thinks he can bring it home first again today. Alan?
Getting set to go here at Kansas today. 267 laps will make up the 400-mile distance around this 1.5-mile track. Around 70 laps will be the expected time they'll have to come in for fuel if we're under the green flag. All sold out. Every one of the 78,000 seats was occupied a moment ago. The fans are all on their feet now for the start here in Kansas. Big wreck in turn 1, lap 1 last year. Let's see if they get through clean this time.
So far, so good, but you can see him still 2-3 wide as he go in 3.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads. Here comes Ryan Newman right to his back bumper and to his inside.
Like these guys said earlier, the first 2 laps real critical on these new tires. The cars are real slick. It takes 3 or 4 laps to really start feeling the stick in these tires here.
Newman leads. Earnhardt Jr. is second. Jimmy Johnson is third. Bill Elliott fourth. Tony Stewart is fifth. Side by side for sixth. Sterling Marlin inside of Michael Waltrip.
And Ward Burton seemed to have a problem. I guess he's going now. All right.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys last lap. Steve Park was up there out of the group EP and lost a lot of spots.
Oh, and Mark Martin gets loose going down in 1. And here comes Rusty Wallace by. Mark's trying to get to the inside, so I just immediately turn left and get back down the bottom of the racetrack.
Just desperate to hear that spotter say, clear low. Joe Nemechek up against Martin's bumper. Farther ahead, Bill Elliott for third on Jimmy Johnson. Elliott's red number 9 moving forward.
And this 9 car ran so well here last year. Lost an engine late in the going, but they assure me they have that problem fixed, as witnessed by their performance this year.
Boy, there's a lot of cars up in 1 and 2 that have gotten out of the groove that lap. 3 of them. Falling right to the back.
Ward Burton was one of them. That second problem he's had of slipping up high. So he's obviously, his handling on that car is not at all good. There's Jerry Nadeau in the 44 working the inside of Ward. This is all the way back for where? 35th place. Ward started 19th.
Jeff Burton, the 99 car, trying to get by Dale Jarrett. He's in the 88. Battle back for the 15th and 16th position. Obviously, they're trying to be 15th. Here comes Terry Labonte trying to sneak on the inside of DJ. All these guys are being so courteous now, Wally.
Yeah.
And as the race wears on, it's going to become less and less courteous.
Yeah, the outside groove is
trouble.
There we go.
3, 4 cars. Bobby Labonte's around. Elliott Sadler sliding across the infield. Jeff Green is in it. Casey Atwood is in it.
Stuart Kirby, the white car that you see parked there, is Stuart Kirby, his first race in the 49 car.
And Ward Burton, along with Tony Raines. Ward's problems went from bad to worse. 7 laps in, first caution of the day. Wow, look at the damage to Tony Raines' car.
Bill, what were they saying about Ward's car down in the pits?
He didn't say anything till after it came sliding to a stop, but he said, I don't know what's wrong with this car, but I thought I was going to spin out in every turn. So, as Alan just said, it started off bad, got worse in a hurry, and Ward Burton's string of bad luck continues, guys.
Let's get a look at what happened and put us... Oh, Casey Atwood, disgusted. Raines is in the red, white, and blue car, the 74.
So obviously the wreck is going to happen right in front of them.
Oh, he just turned sideways by himself.
Wow.
Like a tire must have come apart or something.
I thought I saw a tire, the cap off a tire go down in the infield.
Like maybe the left rear.
Yeah. And there we see the 49 car, just Stuart Kirby just barely become involved.
Ken Schrader was the guy that Raines bounced off of first in the yellow car. He took some air.
I gotta believe the left rear came apart on that.
What,
Tony Raines' car.
On board from Elliott Sadler here.
He is going to make some contact in this 21 Motorcraft car.
All right, let's try the Jeff Green angle.
Inside. Okay, spin right in front, everybody.
Well, I don't know how much. Here we go with 21 car.
You got to spin in front of it, man. Stay low. Just go low. Stay right there. Stay right there. You all right?
Well, let's see if go back and look at that first replay and see if we can see the tire come apart. There we see Raines make contact. There it is, the left rear. Wally, you're right. There's a cap off the tires.
So either had contact with another car that cut it earlier or ran over something.
Yeah, that's strange because that usually doesn't happen, especially that early.
So clean it up on the front straightaway. An early caution has slowed things down here at Kansas. We're under caution at the Kansas Speedway. A 9-car accident just 7 laps in to this race involving those drivers.
I haven't seen Nadeau involved, but obviously that's some pretty good damage because he's been behind the wall for several laps now.
Casey Atwood, Tony Raines, Ward Burton, and Nadeau are behind the wall. Everybody else has continued on, though several have been on pit road.
We can really see that left rear tire coming off this time as Schrader goes airborne. And watch that left rear cab, it just comes off the 74 car.
So cleanup continues here on the front stretch from that accident, and they continue to wipe the oil dry away that was put down. Marty, you got a guess there?
I do have a guess, and Sterling Marlin always gets the cool people in his pits. Alan, last year was Kiss, today it's Joe Montana. When did you become a big race fan?
Oh, I've always been. It's just like being a kid again. You know, I've always wanted to get in a fast car and see how fast I could go. But you can't do that. You know, I've been associated with Chip for a long time, known Chip for a long period of time. And, you know, it started out with kart with me and Chip. And just down here, actually, with the Coors Light and Coors distributor here in Kansas City. So got back involved in the racing part of it and have a lot of fun.
I'm sure it was a thrill to say, gentlemen, start your engines. What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I got a business with a couple guys that I worked with, actually, Ronnie Lott and Harris Barton back in the Bay Area that we do, a little fun to funds business. And other than that, I got 4 kids and my wife to keep me pretty active, so that's about it, chasing them around.
All right, real quick, here, throw me a pass. Hold on a second, let me put my mic down, okay? All right, throw me a pass. I'm gonna run a slant, okay? All right,
Oh, good hand, Snyder. Better catching that football than a pie in the face, huh?
All right, that was cool. All right, Alan.
All right, thank you. Was that a thrill, Marty?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It should have been.
And actually, it was a tight spiral, which I was impressed with. And I ran a pattern pretty good.
You caught a pass from the 4-time Super Bowl winning quarterback. Terrific. Wendy's race menu. Race for the championship moves from Kansas to Talladega, Alabama, and the world's fastest speedway. Coverage on NBC next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern Time. Continuing the cleanup here in Kansas from this accident. Back with more in a moment. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Back at the Kansas Speedway as the pace car heads for pit road. 8 laps under caution now, has slowed the early pace, but Ryan Newman leads him down for the restart.
Tony Stewart did not get a very good restart.
And Jeff Gordon looks like is going to make Tony pay for it by going by.
And so that'll be make that 5th place for Jeff Gordon. Sterling Marlin right behind Tony Stewart there. Stewart in the orange 20, Marlin in the silver 40. And Jeff Gordon, defending winner of this race, told us after crashing out early at Dover last week, He needed to try and win again here today if he was going to have a shot at another championship.
And all those guys with Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Gordon, Nemechek. Oh, man, Rusty Wallace on the inside of Sterling Marlin as Kurt Busch pulls up. Rusty got a little loose down there, which allowed Nemechek to come up in the 25 car, and Kurt Busch following him. Jimmy Johnson, all those guys with Hendrick, they've got more horsepower this week than they've had all along. Randy Dorton told me this morning, this is a watershed race for Hendrick. Hopefully those things, all of those cars will run 400 miles a day, and then they feel like they have something.
Kurt Busch working on Rusty Wallace for the 9th spot.
Problem with the group being so narrow, as we were starting to say before the wreck, is that these guys are crowding each other so far down the racetrack. And when you get the cars side by side real close to each other, it makes the car on the bottom really, really loose because it takes the air off that spoiler. So really tricky running side by side here as close as they are. Hopefully the groove will start moving up the racetrack and they'll get some space in between them.
Sterling Marlin in the silver car running in 10th spot. Rusty Wallace now slipped back to 11. And that's Ricky Craven just behind him in the orange 32. Jeremy Mayfield also there in the 19. And there's Mark Martin, your championship leader. 14th place right now for Mark. See where your favorite driver is pitting today. Log on to NBCSports.com. Check out a pit map of today's Winston Cup race. You can also email BP your NASCAR questions and check out the latest mailbag. NBCSports.com.
Ricky Craven going by Sterling Marlin. Here comes Jeremy Mayfield.
And that was just an example of Ricky got Sterling loose. Drove right. Uh-oh, we got a car in the wall.
Too. Michael Waltrip.
We're in the wall there.
Caution's out.
Might have had it right front go down, VP. Hard to tell after hitting the wall that hard, but yeah. I saw him go up the racetrack, and he was going up there pretty quick.
Ryan Newman brings the field back to the caution flag. They say there, I don't have any brakes.
I'm sure that he's knocked the brake rotor. He's broken the brake rotor. When you hit the wall that hard, the rotor sitting there, usually it breaks it in two, and you have no brakes.
Michael Waltrip had high hopes for today. Started the race in 4th position.
Talking to the crew chiefs this morning in the garage here, that's what the biggest problem. This tire, this racetrack, you have to start so loose. In other words, the car about to spin out because every lap that you run, it gets a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. At the end of the run, the car is way too tight. At the end of the run, it's way too loose. And it's so hard to try to find a happy medium.
Boy, the stack in the garage is getting thick. Ward Burton, Casey Atwood, Tony Raines already retired from the race. Stuart Kirby, Jerry Nadeau back there getting worked on from the first wreck at lap 7. And now Michael Waltrip's back in the garage too. All right, let's see if anybody comes to pit road here. Lap 20.
Well, some of the guys in the back will. That Sterling Marlin needs an adjustment. Here he comes on pit road.
13th place car.
Not a lot of people's coming. You want to go ahead and try to get that rubber? Yeah.
Yeah, Sterling, I need some help.
Out of the left rear.
His car's too tight.
Pull the left front fender out. That's why we got the guys. The left front fender got bent.
Well, Benny, you're exactly right. He said the car is tight like you cannot believe. He wanted a host of changes. They're going to put scuffs on. He also wanted an air pressure adjustment in the right front. Track bar, 2 rounds. He said he also wanted to do a wedge adjustment. Tony Glover, the team manager, waved him off on that today.
Dale Jarrett came in on the last caution. The car was very, very loose. They took a spring rubber out of the right rear. Still just a little bit loose. They made a wedge adjustment to help that.
So the back half of the field comes in to get some service under this second caution of the race. Just 20 laps in Kansas City, America's town. Our NASCAR Busch Series update from yesterday's action here in Kansas. Kerry Earnhardt with a career best finish. And Greg Biffle going a long way toward helping himself with the Busch Series championship with a 4th place finish. His lead was 35 before the race, but the problems Jason Keller had and Biffle's 4th place run opened that gap to 127. The Busch Series racing at Charlotte 1 week from Saturday. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series update. Tight fight for their championship. Rick Crawford only 55 points behind Mike Bliss. They've just got a handful of races left to go to decide who'll wear that crown for 2002. Still under caution after Michael Waltrip bounced off the wall in turn 1. We'll hear from him when NASCAR on NBC returns to Kansas. Going to get one to go here at the start-finish line. Finally get back to racing, but boy, this has been a long cleanup.
Well, Michael Waltrip had a problem, and he had brake rotor. See, there's half the brake rotor, and the guy picks it up. Didn't take him long to look at that, did it? It's hot. Okay, let's go get a shovel and try to pick this little fellow up.
I get away from that tire, too.
But they've got to make sure that all that debris, okay, he's having a hard time with it.
Yeah, and that's half a brake rotor. The other half is scattered out on the track somewhere. Matt?
Alan, down in the 15 garage, Michael Waltrip and a Goodyear engineer are looking at his tire, and you've circled the cut on the tire. How fast did it go down, Michael?
Well, I made a strong move off 4 and got alongside Tony and was passing him, and I got to turn 1 and I couldn't turn left. So Goodyear builds great race tires. I mean, the best in the whole world. The tire they brought to Dover last week was just amazing the way it wore, and we were able to race on it. And this is the same tire. There's nothing wrong with the tire. It's just you can't run over metal no matter what, running 200 miles an hour and not have air give way. And for the second day in a row, I found the wrong piece of metal at the wrong time, and we just real disappointed for the Napa Auto Parts, Chevy, Coca-Cola, Klausner. All of our sponsors do a great job, and man, we were good today. You know, we were making moves. We passed Sterling, passed Tony, and we were on our way, and looking forward to a great day on Macy's birthday. Hi, Mace.
She turns 5 today. Happy birthday, Macy.
Daddy's not having a happy Macy's birthday.
Hey! I don't believe that fan made a pit stop under 13 seconds.
Yeah, but did you change 4 tires on that pit stop, or?
He put gas in at the convenience store.
All right, let's go back racing once again. An 8-lap caution, now a 15-lap caution. And a quick move from Bill Elliott on the restart to the outside of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, but he's on the outside.
Yeah, that's not a good place to be. And Junior races him down the corner hard. Look at Bill get some grip up there and go by Junior. Now
Here
that
comes,
was impressive.
Yeah. Here comes Jeff Gordon on Jimmy Johnson. Give Gordon 4th. On board Jimmy Johnson's car there a minute ago. Dave, what about Johnson?
No problems for the 48 car, but of course Jeff Gordon is his teammate, and the spotter reminded Jimmy when Jeff was going by, big hole behind the 24. That allowed Jimmy to have no problem letting Jeff by and then moving in behind him.
And he's probably be classified more as a teammate. Also owns part of the car that the Jimmy Johnson is driving. Jimmy's trying to take a look on the inside of his owner's car. How that's going to play.
Well, at lap 29, I don't think it'll be a big deal.
No.
Lap 265, 6.
A little bit uglier then.
Yeah, he might contest it a little more. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 3rd, Jeff Gordon in 4th.
Oh, we got another car.
Turn 2, more trouble.
Cars.
Jack Sprague in the 60, Ken Schrader in the 36, and Morgan Shepherd in the 89.
Guys are coming off of 2 so close to each other. It's just really squeezing each other.
Schrader and Sprague had pitted under that last caution. Morgan Shepherd had not. Morgan had slipped back a little bit there in that first couple of laps of racing. So,
and we see some damage to the left side of Morgan's car. Fender rubbing the tire.
It'll be a tough day for Shepherd. 60-year-old veteran trying to make his way with his own team here on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit.
They are side by side, and oh, I see. Kyle Petty gets the back of.
But I think he had, was that Morgan? I think Morgan had to back out of the throttle because he got loose. And when because he was there again, he had a car right on his right rear fender, and I think he got a little bit loose and he got out of the throttle a little bit, and Kyle was there.
That was Dave Blaney that was just to the outside of Morgan in the yellow car. Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon stay out. The other front runners come in. Some of them crossing the tip of the grass to get to pit road. Earnhardt Jr., Elliott, Johnson, Marty.
Bill Elliott's car is very good. It's going to be fuel only for Elliott. Very happy with the chassis, Bill.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the pole sitter, all the way down at the front end of pit road, said his car got really, really tight on that run. Earlier, he'd said it was just a little tight in 3 and 4, but this time really, really tight. So it's 4 tires and fuel for the 8 car. Burns.
48 car of Jimmy Johnson. They made a 2-tire stop, no adjustments, even though he was a little bit loose getting into the corner. But on leaving the pits, he had trouble getting the car fired. They had to push him.
And Dale Jr. goes from running in 3rd spot to probably back around 25th or 30th by that 4-tire stop.
Yeah, just about everybody there took either 2 tires or just fuel, Bill.
And Jimmy Johnson and his crew talked about coming in. He said his car was just a little tight. Ryan Newman and his crew talked about coming in. His car was just a little tight. They decided to stay out. They said, tell us from the spotters stand if they come behind us. And they came too late. Ryan was trapped out there. His car is just a little tight, but they had planned to stay out anyway. But it'll be interesting to see how this works.
Boy.
All right, 1 to go here when they come to the start-finish line. So we're a lap away from the restart. We'll get our pit reporters to scurry up and down and confirm who got fuel only and who took 2 tires. But Dale Jr. is about the only one who took 4, and he's almost at the very end of the line. What put us under caution?
Blaney moves up the racetrack in the 77 car, and you're right, Morgan got a little bit loose, backed out of the throttle. When he did that, Kyle Petty smacks him in the rear, turns him around, and Jack Sprague in the 60. And Schrader have no place to go except in the back of Morgan. Let a look. Well, Morgan's got that thing turned to the right, doesn't he? And nailing that gas.
He would have been okay. Yeah.
Schrader. Yeah. Twice today. Wrong place, wrong time.
Kyle Petty.
All care, caution there, caution. Good job, buddy, good job.
How about our NASCAR Winston Cup Old Navy race fact? This is the 6th race on a 1.5-mile track this season. 5 different drivers have won 5 so far. Can you name them?
I know Mark Martin won at the Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Very good.
And
all right, I'll help you out.
Okay.
Save time. Sterling Marlin, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, and Mark Martin.
All right, very good.
Each manufacturer has also won on a 1.5-mile track this year.
Well, we'll see how new tires, used tires, all this works out, because every car has stopped except the front 2.
Running order really jumbled up. Newman and Jeff Gordon didn't stop. They're in 1st and 2nd. A lot of the guys from 3rd position on back through the rest of the field stopped under that first caution, took just a splash of fuel on this yellow flag. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who took the 4 tires, he restarts in 24th. He was 3rd when the yellow flag came out.
Jeff Green, the 30 car, he's a little aerodynamically challenged with the hood of his car.
Bill Elliott passing Jeff Green for 9th. And now Jeremy Mayfield, Elliott's teammate, coming through in the 19.
Jimmy Johnson.
Fast racetrack like this, you've got sheet metal damage on the front like Jeff Green does. The parade's going to come marching by.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, how bad is the damage on the 30 car, do you know?
I checked with them, BP. They said that the chassis is true, that it is square, but it's that body damage that's going to hurt Jeff the rest of the day.
And they've got him on the outside, and he's really tiptoeing out there to avoid spinning out.
Yeah. No grip to begin with, and the lack of grip because of the body damage makes it worse.
By the way, of the cars in that last accident, all have continued except Morgan Shepherd. He's taken his car to the garage for repairs.
And Jack Sprague just pulled his car behind the wall.
Big attrition early here at Kansas. The protection won 400. A very halting start. 3 caution flags in the first 30 laps of the race. 1 at lap number 7 for a 9-car accident. 1 at lap number 20. Michael Waltrip had his problem. And the accident just moments ago, the 3-car crash off of turn 2.
Dave, what's going on with Dale Jarrett?
Well, BP, they had a good thing going. They stopped under that lap 20 caution, took no tires, made a track bar adjustment to correct him for the long run, but DJ just radioed in. The motor's gone real flat.
Oh, yeah, you can hear it.
And if he's lucky, it'll blow up. He's unlucky, he'll run the rest of the day, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he took the he crossed the start-finish line in 11th last time. And we check on 3rd place. Here comes Happy Harvick. Kevin Harvick in the 29 with a little substitute crew chief today.
Yeah, Butch Hilton, the crew chief of the 21 NASCAR Busch Series car, is calling the shots, isn't he, Marty?
And Kevin Harvick's team does have a substitute crew chief this week. Richard Childers kind of helping out, as well as Butch Hilton, as you mentioned. And they had a little problem getting Gil Martin out of here, the normal crew chief, after the happy hour practice yesterday. They took him to the infield care center. They said, go to the hospital. He came back from the hospital, and Richard Childers said, go home. He is not feeling very well. He does have bronchitis pretty bad, but Butch Hilton's pretty experienced at this game. Won a championship as a car chief for Bob Labonte. And let's also give some credit to Scott Naismith. He is the chief mechanic on this car. He's also helping out. So there's actually 4 crew chiefs in the car if you count Kevin. And we always know, Wally, crew chiefs are always really behind the wheel, aren't they?
That's right.
There's RC.
Richard used to be a driver, and he knows what it's like.
Sitting on top of Kevin Harvick's pit box today. Harvick won at this track's sister, the Chicagoland Speedway, back in July. And Marty and I had a conversation with Kevin this morning, and he thought he had a pretty stout race car and had a good chance to win today.
Yeah, I was talking to him, and I said, car's not too good, is it? He said, yeah, my car's good. I said, well, happy hour, it didn't show anything. He said, well, see, that's why you got to do all your homework, because we were just trying some things. They didn't work, so it didn't show up on the chart that we felt like our car was pretty good.
Ricky Craven going for a ride up in the high stuff in 1 and 2. Sounds like coming to pit road, Dave. What do you think?
Smoke
on the 32 car, guys. Don't know if that's what we're talking about, but the 32 car of Ricky Craven right now. The water light has come on in his car. He believes he's had some debris go through the radiator. Tough break for those guys. They've been working hard all weekend and never found the handle, and now this.
Yeah, Dave, it looks pretty terminal. They got smoke coming out of the tailpipes there as the 88 drives behind the wall.
Yeah, saw Dale Jarrett make the turn to the garage behind Craven, and now Ricky coming to the attention of his crew. Big attrition early today. Wow.
Dave?
And guys, there's a very telltale small hole on the right front of the front valence, right where they tape up the front end. The crewman looking at it now, a hole just big enough for some nasty debris to get in and put a hole in that radiator.
Got 8 cars behind the wall now, make it 9 with Dale Jarrett. And if they can't fix Craven's car without going behind the wall, that's going to be almost a quarter of the field that's not in the running here. And we're only 42. Oh, trouble. Dave Blaney in the 77 is around.
What were you saying, Alan?
Yeah. I'm saying that this is the point that I go to the record books and find out what are the most failed to finish we've had this year.
And 13 caution flags is looking easily within reach.
Yeah, last year's number. This would be number 4. As Ryan Newman brings the field back around to the caution once more.
Now he and Jeff Gordon need to pit, Wally.
Yes.
But when they do, they're going to restart about 25th. Or worse.
But you're right, they will come in next time around.
Okay, take another one to the garage.
That was 2. That's Yates Motors there too, right? Both those cars.
Yeah, Craven and Jarrett, yeah.
Although if he's got a hole in the radiator or somewhere in the front, that's the main culprit for Ricky Craven's problem.
Wonder if it was a chunk of that brake rotor. If he was, you know, heard some guys monitoring some of the team's radio traffic, heard some guys talk about different people that hit pieces of that when Michael Waltrip had his problem earlier. So I wonder if Craven was one of those guys, and now it has manifested itself.
It's possible.
And I think Blaney trying to get back to the pits with that flat tire as the right front has come apart, and
he's going to the garage too, I bet.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
The right front did more damage coming apart than when he hit the wall.
Yeah.
All right, here come the leaders to the pit road opening. Will Newman and Gordon stop, and who else will stop behind them?
They've got to.
They do.
Mike Wallace decides he will come in.
Most everybody else is saying nothing.
Todd Bodine stayed out.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to get a lot of his track position back here. He stayed out. Half in, half stayed out. Marty?
What did you call it, Alan? A strategy smorgasbord. That's what we have going on today. Jeff Gordon loose in, a little bit loose when he hits the throttle. They're going to go down about a half turn on the track bar, but he's fairly happy with the chassis. It will be 4 tires for the Winston Cup champ. Weber?
Well, this race already out of whack early. The leader, Ryan Newman, on pit road. Want to take some tape off the front of the grill, a chassis adjustment because the car is just a little tight. They get the tape off the front. He's got 4 tires and fuel. Whole race Gordon down pit road.
And just barely edge him out. But they're going to restart well back in traffic because about a dozen cars did not come into the pits. Kevin Harvick will be the new leader here in Kansas. You're watching NASCAR on NBC, a day that's been too hot to handle for some. At the Kansas Speedway, 78,000 are here, enthusiastically so.
NASCAR's best crowd, they think.
This racetrack has been terrifically supported since they first put the tickets on sale. Now, you want to be a Winston Cup tire changer. We'll give you a preview of what it's like.
This is Ray Holm, the rear tire changer for Ricky Rudd, better known as Ray Ray.
5 on, 5 off.
There we go. All right, left side. 2, 3, 4, 5. Attaboy. Off you come. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Attaboy. That's the way it's supposed to be done. Matt.
Well, DJ, for a team that really isn't known to be snake bit by engine problems, you guys have had your share this year. What happened to the engine?
I don't know what happened. I started losing some power, and I don't know if it broke a spring first or something got in and started creating problems, and then we had a big problem. So, yeah, it's very rare. It's just unfortunate.
Thanks, DJ. Alan?
Wow. Lineup in the garage of those out of the race is growing here today. Getting set to go back racing. Here's our Circuit City track fact. 78,000 here today, but you see the footings in the area that's already been planned in here for the grandstand expansion of the racetrack. They can bring this thing up to 150,000 seats by the time they're done with the next phase of construction.
Well, very good.
And they'll sell them too.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
People around here love NASCAR Winston Cup racing. And the people in Alabama do too. There'll be 150,000 or so at Talladega next Sunday for the EA Sports 500. And NBC will have live coverage for you starting at 12:30 Eastern Time. Fast, furious, wild, unpredictable.
Unpredictable, I think that's the best word of all. And all these guys battling for the championship. People ask me, who has the upper hand? I keep saying we've got to go to the EA Sports 500 before we have any idea. Who will be able to get through that and miss the big wreck?
Tell you what we've seen so far today, who's going to be able to get through this one and still be in contention next week? So far, all the championship contenders have avoided the problems that have slowed this race 4 times within its first 100 miles. But those out of the race, the roster's growing. Dale Jarrett's out, Ricky Craven's behind the wall, Ken Schrader's behind the wall getting repairs, Jack Sprague's behind the wall.
And they're 3 wide behind the leader. Now Bill Elliott liked, oh my goodness, Bill Elliott liked that outside so well.
Wow, that's not good.
There's trouble. Johnny Benson. Is that Benson? No, that's Spencer. I'm sorry.
Good save, Jimmy.
That different paint job on the 41 car this week. And here comes Jimmy Johnson on Todd Bodine for second. Johnson in the 48, Bodine in the 26. So this little round of pit stops and people on different schedules has really shuffled the field. Ryan Newman, who led the race before the caution, is back in 15th place. Jeff Gordon is 16th. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who lost all the ground before, he's back up to 11th.
Hey, what? Todd Bodine is hanging pretty tough on the outside. That groove is looking real good.
He's discovering he can race there?
He's discovering he can race there, yes.
Tony Stewart's discovering that he can't get by these two, and they're side by side, and Kevin Harvick's getting away.
Bill Elliott to the outside of Tony Stewart. Going to try that high line.
And look at that. And Bill Elliott behind these cars passed Tony Stewart on the outside.
So that puts Elliott to 4th. You see Kevin Harvick off in the distance.
Yeah, well, these guys are racing side by side. They're not running nearly the laps that Kevin Harvick can by himself.
Yeah, last time by 0.6 of a second slower. Second place and third place were than the leader Harvick.
Now Tony Stewart's going to try to get back by Bill Elliott. Tell you what, that 9 car of Elliott's looks awfully strong today.
Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, creeping into view. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th here. Got to be impressed with that 26 hanging out there on the outside.
It's very impressive.
There's a couple of things that's impressive. Number one is Todd Bodine. We finally loses a fought to Johnson. But that outside groove that we thought was not going to be there is looking pretty good.
3 wide. Here comes Dale Jr. Got by both Robbie Gordon and Jeff Burton on the backstretch. Moves him up to 7th.
On board with Rusty Wallace as he tries to follow Kurt Busch up by Robbie Gordon, I think that is.
Yep. Rusty in 11th place right now.
Oh. Robbie had a wiggle.
He doesn't like that outside groove nearly as much as Todd Bodine does.
And there's Jimmy Spencer and Steve Park in the 1. How about 3rd place?
Tony Stewart had a look on Todd Bodine as he came off turn 4.
And Robbie Gordon continuing to struggle in that outside lane.
Oh, there. I thought he was going to come down the hill. Looked to me like he was going to turn left and there's going to be some contact. But it was not, as Ryan Newman now tries to battle back on the outside of Jeff Gordon.
These are the guys that stopped. They were the leaders at the caution, took their tires, restarted 15th and 16th, and now Newman and Gordon trying to make their way back up. And Sterling Marlin working underneath Greg Biffle just behind them. Now Stewart still working over Todd Bodine for 3rd place. Tony Stewart, one of the contenders for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. 3rd in the standings coming in. Strong move to the inside in turn 3. And Bill Elliott in the 9 car, looking for his 3rd win of the season.
Won't you see Elliott go down Wally and just hang on that white line down through 1 and 2?
Yeah, that looked pretty good. I think Todd just decided he better just go ahead and let those guys take the position for now. Oh, he's still running that high groove.
By choosing to run there, what's that telling you about his car?
By that corner, it looked like the car was tight, but you see as he goes into turn 1 here, he rolls off the gas. The car, well, it's hard to tell, because if you're loose getting in, you'll drive it up the racetrack to try to help the car.
But he's actually going in a little bit higher than you think. So it looks like he's trying to find a tight situation by moving up the racetrack.
I agree with you on that.
Jimmy Johnson, after getting by that race with Todd Bodine, has put some distance on 3rd place Tony Stewart and trying to chase down leader Kevin Harvick. Championship standings as they run in the race now. Johnson is running 2nd. Mark Martin is back in 25th. Mark's the championship leader for the moment, but not as they run on the racetrack.
BP, we got a good shot of the front of that car. They've got that 48 car's front valence down on the racetrack.
Jimmy Johnson, of course, winning last weekend at Dover, a rookie. He's not supposed to be in contention for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. We talked with Jimmy about it earlier.
you know, there's still skeptics about if we can do this or not, and believe me, we're just as skeptical as everyone else if we can win this championship. We feel that we have all the ingredients at Hendrick Motorsports and the support from Lowe's and the way we're all communicating. So, you know, the possibility's there, but I don't think it bothers me that we're not being considered the favorite going into any of this. We're just out there trying to win races and get experience, and we're lucky enough to find ourselves in this championship battle, and we'll just see how it all shakes out.
Lucky enough not to know. Yeah, that he's not supposed to be doing what he is. Dave, what about Jimmie Johnson?
Well, he is superstitious like other race car drivers, and so is his whole team. In fact, every time they've won a race in this series this year 3 times, or even in the Busch Series once last year, Matt Yoakum was the pit reporter. I was not in his pit, so today, since Matt isn't here, they decided to put his credential up here on the War Wagon just to make sure that Matt was in their pits. I think Matt needs a mustache.
Yes, he does.
There we go.
Yoakum might be a little business opportunity there if Jimmy keeps winning.
Alan, all I know is that Jimmy got a boat when he won his first career Winston Cup victory. I believe at Fontana, they gave him a boat, Lowe's did, and I think if he gets another win, I'm still waiting for my boat, because that credential's worth a lot of money the way it looks.
Yeah. Bill Elliott passing Tony Stewart for 3rd.
Your boat will never come in, Matt.
And while all these guys look like they're able to get that front bumper down to the racetrack in the corners and really seal it so that air doesn't go under the car.
Yeah, that's what that's doing. It's just helping pull the front of those cars down to the racetrack and give those front tires grip. So everybody's running the softest they possibly can get away with here as far as the front springs go.
Jeff Burton moving forward. 99 car going to take 6th from Todd Bodine.
Well, he's going to attempt it, and since he caught him, looks like he should be able to pass him. Nods, he's not going too easy. About the 99, Marty.
Just feeling pretty confident, BP. Said the track keeps coming to us. We're getting better with every lap. I talked to Jeff Burton this morning, and he said what we're doing for the rest of this year is we're putting a down payment on next year. We're experimenting with a lot of things. We're not throwing this year away by any means, but we're trying some stuff that we normally would not try in a race car during a race. Seems to be paying off so far today.
Jeff Burton started 30th and finished 6th at Dover last week. He started 16th today. He's just taken 6th away from Todd Bodine. Kevin Harvick is the leader. Got away from the field when they were racing side by side behind him just after the restart. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Spectacular day in Kansas City, Kansas, where NBC is here for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series along with 78,000 fans. Earlier in this race, Dale Jarrett behind the wall with motor problems. Right now on the track, the 97 of Kurt Busch off the pace, perhaps down a cylinder with a motor problem. A lot of guys on pit road, engine builders in particular, concerned about this problem today. Jeff Clark works on the engines for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. He says his bad luck is out of the way, and here's why. When they were working on the 8th car this morning, getting it ready to go through inspection, they found a seal leak in the water pump when they started the car up just before they took it through the inspection process. Jeff Clark and Jeff Opel changed out that water pump, put in a new one that's working fine. The temps are good. Earnhardt's car is fast. Says he's a little tight coming off of turn 2. When he made that pass and all that traffic on the backstretch a few laps ago, they told him on the radio, that's one for the highlight reel. Down pit road to Dave Burns.
Bill, the 97 car of Kurt Busch is having motor problems. The crew has been instructed to pull the wagon away, their crash cart that they can take back to the garage, pull the valve covers off the engine and see if they can fix maybe a valve spring problem or a rocker arm, something like that, and get him back in this race and get valuable points. Back to Bill.
One thing we're going to have to watch throughout the day, temperatures and tape on the front noses of these race cars. Guys talking about it in the car, guys working on it on pit road. But we saw a lot of engine failures here a year ago, along with a lot of wrecks. Could see more as this race unwinds. Right now, Kevin Harvick out front, no problems, having a good day. But everybody is thinking, what's going to happen next, and to whom?
Yeah, the comings and goings from the garage today, Bill, have been frequent. Right now, there are 10 cars behind the wall. Michael Waltrip, Bobby Labonte, and Jerry Nadeau are back on track, along with Ken Schrader after spending time behind the wall. But now, along with Kurt Busch, Mike Skinner has just gone back to the garage. joining Ricky Craven, Dale Jarrett, Jack Sprague, Morgan Shepherd, Stuart Kirby, Tony Raines, Casey Atwood, and Ward Burton. Attrition, the story of the day today so far. And by the way, the question I asked earlier, what is the race that's had the most failed to finish this season? 14, the season opening Daytona 500.
And Bill Elliott just blows by Jimmy Johnson. Johnson actually moved over and let him go. That is the battle for the second spot, and give it to Elliott.
Let's see what these guys are turning, BP. Maybe we could see if that's some of the problem.
Well, 9,000 RPMs. The engine guys this morning were standing in front of the 48 car from Hendrick Engines, and they had a 9,400 chip in their hand, talking about putting that in the car.
Yeah, well, they're turning the motors a lot more than they used to, that's for sure. But I think maybe why it's so hard on the motors to look at the low point of the RPMs. It's only going to 6,800. So you're turning these motors a lot of RPMs all the time.
And if you're not familiar with these Winston Cup cars, they have a system in them that limits the amount of revolutions the engine can turn. And the turn 4 got a crash. Greg Biffle. Caution's out again.
Looks like Greg is holding the brakes on the car to keep it from rolling back down the hill.
Okay, man? Yeah, I'm fine.
Just a little disgusted.
Yeah. Yellow flag number 5. Just past 100 miles, and Kevin Harvick brings the field back to the caution flag.
There we see Biffle on the inside of Jimmy Spencer, and Wally, that's what we talked about. Get the car on the outside, you just get loose, and around it goes. Ooh, heavy contact.
At least he hit it with the left front corner of the car instead of driver's side. But yeah, if you get those cars close to each other, it just takes the air off the bottom guy so bad. Makes your car so loose. Hard to save one like that.
Yes, it is. And I don't think he'll be back on the racetrack.
All right, they've closed pit road because Greg Biffle has dropped a bunch of liquid driving back to the garage. So let's take a break here. We'll come back for the pit stops in a minute. Sprint presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Kansas on NBC. Here come the leaders to the opening of pit road. And pit road is open this time. Expect we should see everybody in. The question is, do they get 4 tires or 2?
Well, I don't know. I think a lot. It's hard to say. If the tire wear is good, I think it'll take 2. What do you say, Marty?
Well, the caution was very well timed for the leader, Kevin Harvick. Remember, he last pitted at lap 20, so he was going to have to come about 20 laps before everybody else. The car a little bit tight. They will make a track bar adjustment, and it will be 4 tires for Kevin Harvick. Bill Elliott in front of him is his car that came in number 2. Very good for Bill Elliott right now. The only adjustment, clean the grill. Dave?
Jimmy Johnson took 2 right sides last time. This time he needs 4. Little loose in, little tight off. Round a wedge in the right rear. A little bit of tape off the left front for the 48 car. Guy's finishing the work on the left side now, and he stalled it last time leaving. This time he's out clean.
Tony Stewart has already come and gone. His car plowing like a dump truck, so they took just a couple of extra seconds to yank a spring rubber out of the left rear. That took a few extra seconds, but they had a good stop, made a track bar adjustment. Matt?
Bill, a good stop for Rusty Wallace on his first stop back on lap 30. 2 tires scuffs. This stop, 4 tires scuffed. They stayed with the same air pressure. The car, though, was still loose. He did ask his crew chief, Bill Wilburn, where are we getting all the scuffs? He said, from Morgan Shepherd.
Well, it sounds like there wasn't too many guys that wanted the 2 tires.
I saw Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon get 2. I want to go back and double check on a couple of more that came off pit road pretty quick, and we'll get the guys to do that in a second. BP is over at the Team Caliber 360 Racer. What do you got to show us, Benny?
Alan Wall and I were talking just a moment ago and pointing out the front bumpers or front air dams on these cars, how low to the racetrack they were, and that's what the drivers want, because the drivers feel like if this left front picks up at all, they're going to get air under here. It's going to make the car push like a dump truck, as Tony Stewart just said. But so they run, to get this front bumper to the ground, they run very soft springs in the front. Well, how do they know how soft to run? How do they know how close this is to the racetrack when they're out there? what they do is they rivet some pieces on the front air dam. They go on the racetrack in practice and they grind these down, and they want to grind the thing down till about the point that it even with the front air dam. That's how they know how soft to go in the front springs.
How low can you go?
As low as you can.
All right, clean it up from the 5th caution here at the Kansas Speedway. We'll get back to racing in just a moment. Beautiful day in the mid-80s here in Kansas City, Kansas. NASCAR on NBC with race 29 of the NASCAR Winston Cup season. Exit to pit road got interesting a minute ago.
Yep, Jerry Mayfield just beat Robbie Gordon to the line exiting the pits. And then the drivers weren't quite sure who won that race, so they had a little bit of a conversation with their fenders coming out of turn 2. So normally when it's that close, you wait for your spotter to tell you what NASCAR has said, who won out.
Boys, fenders are your friends on a track like this.
How about it, Bill?
And Ray Evernham, who is working on the wagon in Jeremy Mayfield's pit, has told him, just relax, just race that guy, but race him clean. And Ray has tried to settle his driver down. We're here for a long day. He pointed out the fact that that 31 car doesn't seem to finish a lot of races, so just stay away from him, race with your head, and we'll be there at the end, and they won't. But Evernham, very calm, talking to his young driver.
Yeah, you got to be careful not to mess your fenders up at a place like this, on a situation like that.
3 of the first 4 only got 2 tires on their stop. The new leaders, Johnny Benson in the 10, 2 tires. Matt Kenseth in the 17, 2 tires. Jeff Gordon, 2 tires. Kevin Harvick, like a rocket ship on the restart.
Yeah, great restart.
He had 4 tires on his stop, and he's using them well. Third to first in about a quarter of a lap.
And you see Jeff Burton back off and not go in the corner on the inside of the 17 car like we saw Biffle in the 41 car of Spencer a moment ago. He knew if he got in there and got alongside the 17 car, he would get loose. And he lost a spot. As
That's
Junior
smoke coming out of the 9 car?
Sure is.
I don't know if that's fender smoke because they got the pressures down or what, but boy, that thing was smoking a lot.
Earnhardt Jr. underneath Kenseth. What about Johnny Benson, Dave?
Well, Johnny radioed into crew chief James Ince saying, well, I can't help that. And I believe he referred to the fact that Kevin Harvick just got a really good run on him at the start.
Benson in second now in that 10, trying to hold off Jeff Gordon for a spot. Just behind them, Earnhardt Jr. in 4th, and now 3 wide for 5th.
Yeah, the middle's not where you want to be, BP, going into 3.
And Jeff Burton knew that. He wisely backed out. And Rusty Wallace made that slide job on Matt Kenseth. Got him up the racetrack, and that way Jeff Burton was able to get by as well. Looks like Elliott's smoke has gone away, so I guess it was the fact this tire smoke for low air pressure.
It's mentioned that Greg Biffle did drive his car to the garage after that last accident, so put him on the attrition list. What about our championship leader starting today, Mark Martin? Where's he at? He told us before the race that he didn't really feel like they had a great car for the day. He's running back in 15th place. Check that, 19th place. He lost a few spots here in these last couple of laps. Matt Yoakum, got something for us?
Well, during that pit stop, Alan, when Mark pitted, they were making a number of adjustments. They put on 4 scuffed tires, they made a track bar. He was loose on entry and tied off, and they were also pulling out the fender and then pulling a piece of tape off. And when Dave Wise tried to grab the tape, apparently Mark had already started to leave. He was brushed back by Mark. He's okay. We were going to try to show it to you on the team's recorded tape. You know how they record the pit stops, but unfortunately the guy whose job that is had gone back to the garage to check on Greg Biffle. So we have no video and no harm, no foul on Dave Weiss.
Check out Greg Biffle for
Jack Roush.
See that he's okay.
Maybe tires.
Yeah, could be any number of things there, right? All right, Dale Earnhardt Jr. running fourth as we check the championship standings. Jimmie Johnson shuffled back to 9th place by that set of pit stops, with some other guys getting 2 tires. So
Mark is continuing to drop back to 22nd right now.
Jimmie Johnson, speaking of, getting 8th place for Matt Kenseth, or trying to. And 2nd place.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, the fastest qualifier here on Friday afternoon, has taken the Budweiser car to the front. And here comes this great battle for, what is that, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and on back.
Here Jimmy just easing into that throttle.
Be careful with that gas pedal.
Matt Kenseth struggling. 2 tires on that last pit stop, not agreeing with this car's chassis right now.
Ryan Newman, 12 car, who's led much of this race, going by, and Tony Stewart going by Jimmie Johnson.
That was 8th place that Stewart just took. Johnson is 9th, Newman is 10th. And Kenseth, who restarted 2nd, is about to lose 11th to Jeremy Mayfield. And here comes Sterling Marlin to the inside. Checked himself into the picture a little bit.
And Joe Nemechek, the 25 car.
And you talk about a guy who needs a good day. Sterling Marlin was the championship leader just a couple of weeks ago. Finished 21st the last 2 straight weeks, 43rd the week before that. He went from leading the championship all the way back to 4th in the standings.
Benson loses another spot as Jeff Gordon goes by. Here's Rusty Wallace in the 2 car.
Oh, look out.
Oh, Johnny, good job. Man, Dave, did you see that?
BP, Johnny just radioed in last lap. I feel like I'm on top of the track. I really don't know why. That's the reverse of what drivers sometimes say when they feel really good. I'm in the track. Right now, he really has a handful.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. On top of the racetrack, feels like you're just skating around the racetrack. And when your car really feels good, it just feels like it's just digging the asphalt out underneath your tires. So right now, he feels like he's on ice.
This is 3rd place. Jeff Gordon in the 24. Trying to fend off Rusty Wallace in the number 2.
And coming off turn 4, Benson looked like he was on ice a couple of laps ago. See, Jeff is not able to keep that car on the bottom of the racetrack with those 2 tires. Not able to stay down next to that white line. When he moved up off turn 2, Rusty goes by. Jeff Burton goes by. Here comes Bill Elliott. And behind him, Tony Stewart going by Johnny Benson. He's already by him.
So right now, 2 tires isn't looking like the hot setup. How about Dale Jr., Bill?
Well, yeah, I'm here just hanging out in the pits for you, Alan, but just wanted to point out that Junior's pit stop last time, they did take 4 tires. The time of that stop, 13.86 seconds, made a slight air pressure adjustment because he was just a little tight. So Junior now looking inside of Harvick, trying to recapture the lead. Can't quite do it there. Now going to try the high side and go around him. And another move for the highlight reel for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He just told his crew, we got us a good little race car here.
Yes, they do.
They just made a little adjustment to the standings, too.
Man.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of 5 drivers who have traded the lead on 5 different occasions in this race. We're coming up on the 150-mile mark here. Junior pushing Kevin Harvick back to the runner-up spot, giving Harvick the run around here in Kansas.
Back at Kansas, and the caution has just come out. Caution on the racetrack. We've been green while you were gone. Debris on the backstretch. Some of the drivers have been talking about it. You can see it right there. So the caution is out. The pace car will gather the field, and the 4 of us on pit road are about to do a lot of running. So, Alan, here we go. It's all back to you right now.
Get your track shoes laced up tight, Bill. Dale Earnhardt Jr., your race leader, as they come to the 6th caution of the race. This the first one that was not caused by a crash in the Protection 1-400.
Well, I bet you that those guys that changed 2 tires the last time will be coming back in and changing 4 this time. Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon.
You mean we might get another smorgasbord of strategy?
We just might.
Let's see. They last stopped at lap 78. We're at 102 now. 30 laps, halfway through a fuel run.
Some guys might stay out, but I don't think so. I think all the cars will be coming in.
Oh, I agree they'll all pit. The question is how many of them get 2 tires. The guys that took 2 last time.
What are you guys thinking? What do you think, Tony? You going to stay out or?
I don't know. If I'm in the lead, I'm going to take 4 already because I'm up there. Because if half the guys come in, I don't know. Maybe a lot of guys not come in.
Here's our Coca-Cola Racing family update. Pretty good day for most of the guys.
Yeah. Harvick's had a real good day.
Yeah. He's led 48 laps so far. And Michael Waltrip, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett involved in early incidents. Jarrett done for the day with an engine failure. Labonte involved in a lap 7 crash. Michael Waltrip involved in a lap 20 crash.
All right, here they come. Pit road is going to be open, I think.
Let's see who comes, BP. Yeah, everybody.
Step right up. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Who gets 2 tires? Who gets 4? Matt, lead us off.
And Rusty Wallace coming in for service. A much debate in the 2 pit whether to go 2 or 4. Car owner Roger Penske made the final call. They're going to go 4, making an air pressure adjustment on the right side. Rusty was still a little loose, Marty.
Matt, Kevin Harvick's already gone. The car was a little too free. Pound out of the right rear, down on the track bar, Bill.
No talk about 2 tires for Earnhardt Jr. It was going to be fuel only. Then they decided to take 4. So it's 4 tires and fuel. He needs a little more bite when he gets in the gas. The 8 car is on his way. We check in with Burns.
And the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, better getting into the corner. Pretty balanced, still a little tight off. So they made a track bar adjustment. They were going to take on 4, but when Chad Knaus, the crew chief, saw everybody else taking on 2, they called for 2 only.
I saw Kevin Harvick and Mark Martin, it looked like, also get just 2 tires. We'll reset it all for you when NASCAR on NBC returns to Kansas City after this. Our Little Debbie trivia question. Who are the 2 drivers that finished 2nd in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship more than once, but never won the title?
Well, we know that Mark Martin is one of them because we're riding along with him. So
very nice.
Very good clue.
James Hilton.
James Harvey.
Yep. All right, now Ryan Newman, the leader. Once again, no tires on his stop, fuel only. Kevin Harvick, Bill Elliott, only 2 tires. Tony Stewart, 2 tires.
Green flag, green flag.
Evidently, Bill Elliott as well, 2 tires. Is that?
Yeah, just said Bill. Got Mark Martin, 2 tires. Jimmy Johnson, John Andretti. First one that got 4 tires is Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 8th place. Check that 9th place. A strategy smorgasbord.
There it is.
Got it all today, I'm telling you. Mike Wallace in the green car trying to get back on the lead lap. He is the first car 1 lap down in 27th place.
Also real loose in between 3 and 4 that lap.
On board Jimmy Johnson.
5th place car. Closed up right on the back bumper of Jeff Burton in 5th. Bill Elliott is still trying to get by Mike Wallace. Jimmy Johnson drives to the inside of Burton and goes by in the straightaway.
Tony Stewart, look in. Kind of had a jump on the brake there, it looked like. He had those left sides right down below that white line.
Yeah, that was almost too low. That banking changes there on that apron. If you get the left sides on that apron, usually really loosens the car up. Speaking of trying to loosen somebody up, that's what Jeff Burton trying to do with 48 right now. Wow. May get it done to himself by the 20.
Can't can't be comfortable at 170 miles an hour.
Not very.
It looked like that the work that the Hendrick engine folks have been doing is working, because it looks like that 48 had a little more horsepower that time than I've seen before. He pulled that car down, that 99 car down the straightaway.
And the 20 car looked like it did get the 99 loose, getting into 3.
And Jeff said, okay, I've had enough.
Yep, go ahead.
Still early, not even halfway.
Here comes a guy on 4 tires. Dale, 8 car.
Yep.
Jeff Burton must not be real happy with that car in traffic.
So that'll put Earnhardt Jr. to 6th and Jeff Burton back to 7th.
Uh-oh, we got 1 car sideways and 3.
Steve Park into the wall. Shedding parts and pieces. Oh, man. Sitting in a precarious position, but he's gotten away with it, Bill.
And he had radioed in right when they went back to green. I think I've got a vibration. I think I've got a vibration. So the crew jumped up on the wall. And just a lap ago, they asked him, is everything okay? He goes, yeah, just a little loose end. And now he's not okay anymore. At least the car's not.
Mike Wallace is going to get his lap back? Or did they take the yellow already?
They're actually telling him to get back behind Ryan Newman. They don't think he got it. They'll confirm it with the photo finish camera. So they want Mike Wallace to slow down. So since everybody just pitted under caution here a minute ago, I don't think we'll see many stop here. Safety workers there working with Steve Park. And we're under caution for the 7th time here at the Kansas Speedway. Back at the Kansas Speedway, NASCAR on NBC, watching Steve Park's car get towed away after this crash.
I see Wally goes down the corner on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Looks like the car just got loose and he's got no place to go but in the wall. Unfortunately, Ricky Rutz barely squeezes by. And Alan, you talked about it, all that debris coming off the car as he comes off that wall. There goes a bar down, dragging across the racetrack. And all those cars behind him. Mark Martin was one of those cars right behind Steve Park that drove through that debris. On board with Todd Bodine. Watch this.
I'll be back it down. Go low, go low. Come on, come on. They're clear.
And when Steve got out of the car, he
I don't know who he's mad
expressed
at
himself.
and why. Looks like he's looking at the Florida car, but
he was on the inside of Sterling Marlin. He obviously feels like that Sterling pinched him down to the inside of the racetrack. It didn't look like it on the replays, but that's what Steve obviously thinks.
Yeah.
And anyway, Mark Martin drove through all that debris. Is that why he made a pit stop, Matt?
Well, let's ask his crew chief, Ben Leslie, why did you pit, Ben?
Well, we gambled and tried to take 2 tires to get track position, and it was terrible on the car. Mark could not stand to drive it like that, so we come in and got 4 tires on it, made a couple adjustments, trying to get everything back to even paces.
They're still working on the point leader's car, Marty.
Matt, as Mark Martin soldiers on trying to win, and not only Jack Roush's first ever Winston Cup, he's also trying to win the first Winston Cup championship for Ford since Dale Jarrett did so in 1999. The fact that Mark is even contending for the championship is a bit of a surprise to him because he said they had so many off-season changes, and also 2001 was one of his worst seasons statistically ever since 1988. He didn't finish in the top, didn't win a race and didn't finish in the top 10 in points at the end of the year, but this year's been much better for Mark Martin, much more consistent. He has finished 2nd or 3rd in the championship race 7 times, wants to win that first championship this year. Alan?
You know, Mark's crew chief, Ben Leslie, talked about they were struggling. Mark restarted 8th in 6 laps of green flag racing, fell to 23rd on those 2 tires. So
now we understand why he stopped and changed 4 tires. I thought maybe he was concerned about a flat.
Yep. All right, let's check our Napa field summary. Drivers who have led today. Ryan Newman has led 54 laps, Kevin Harvick 48, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 10, Johnny Benson 2, Elliott Sadler 1. Cars out, that's the big number today. Out of the race, Greg Biffle, Ricky Craven, Dale Jarrett, engine failure there. Morgan Shepherd, Tony Raines, Casey Atwood, Ward Burton. Those last few involved in a crash that happened just a couple of laps into the race.
Be ready. Be ready. Green flag, green flag.
And Mike Wallace, as you can see, did not get that lap back. He's on the bottom trying to do so.
Jimmy Johnson with the run on the outside. Careful, careful. Going to try and take third from Bill Elliott.
Tony Stewart's going to try to follow. Elliott came back pretty strong off turn 4.
Ryan Newman leads. Kevin Harvick is second. Johnson and Elliott and Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. fighting for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace, and Joe Nemechek just behind them. Steve Park has been checked and released from the infield care center. He is fine.
What's going on with Sterling Marlin, man?
Well, Benny, the crew guys down here in the Coors pit jumped up on the wall right before we went back to green. Sterling thought he had a tire going down. He just didn't clean the tires good enough. That's why he kind of had that sensation that he had a tire going down. Luckily, he cleaned them again and said he was okay. You know, he ended the day 81 points out of first, trying to make another charge to get back in the point lead. And that's something that he did not need to try to bounce back from, pitting when everybody else was restarting.
That's why you see the cars weaving back and forth, trying to clean those tires off, the debris off the tires before the restart. Who was loose there, Wally?
What's that?
Someone loose there?
No, I was talking about cleaning the tires and what that meant. Picking up all the junk on the hot tires.
Right now, Jimmy Johnson, if they paid points now, he'd be leading for the championship. But they don't. They've got to run the rest of the day.
And we're not even halfway yet. About another 14 laps till we get to the midway point of this race. Here's Joe Nemechek taking 9th spot from Rusty Wallace. Guy who desperately needs a good run. Joe is one of the guys who doesn't have a job for next year yet.
Oh, Jeff Gordon going up around Dale Earnhardt Jr. Both these cars, 4 tires last pit stop, and Gordon must like his. Puts him into the 6th position. I am right. These are the first cars that changed 4 last time. Gordon and Earnhardt, correct?
According to my notes.
Yep. Newman running pretty good laps out there right now, BP.
Here's Joe Nemechek. Back to him for a second. One of the few rides that's not spoken for next year yet is this 25 car. Dave?
Well, Alan, this is a great move for this team right now. A great run for Joe since taking over. I believe his best finish has been an 18th, so he's running in the top 10. And that largely due to the work of Peter Suspenzo, the crew chief that's come on board for this group now. A really good run for them. The last pit stop, they made an adjustment to fix a tight off the corner condition, and it is handling better now for Joe.
Why else would be a good day for Nemechek to have a good finish today?
Why is that?
It's his birthday. 39 years young.
Oh, happy birthday, Joe.
There you go.
Maybe these guys will give you a better present than that.
A little trophy and a victory lane kiss from the trophy queen. That'd be a good birthday, wouldn't it?
Real good.
Jeff Burton, 99. Rusty Wallace, 2. Let's see. 9th and 10th place there. And Rusty riding that winless streak that he talks about every time he gets around a microphone. 54 races now on the Schneid for Wallace.
Tell you what, last time off turn 4, watch this. Mark Martin comes up, and all of a sudden the car just seemed to get loose and go up the racetrack. He almost got in the wall, Wally.
That looks exactly what Ricky Hendrick's car did yesterday in the Busch race off turn 4.
Mark is back in 24th. Rusty trying to deal with younger brother Mike. Wallace, first car 1 lap down, 26th place. In fact, he's the only car 1 lap down. Everybody's either on the lead lap or 4 or more laps down, besides Mike Wallace. From all the accidents and the people going on and off pit road, making repairs and things that we had early in the race. It's been kind of unusual today, the way the scoring looks, the guys out of the race, the different pit stop schedules. Kind of had a little bit of everything today so far. Ryan Newman has had a lot his way today. He and Kevin Harvick have been the dominant 2 drivers in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series race from Kansas Speedway on NBC. Sprint presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Kansas on NBC. Sold out 78,000 here today on an 85-degree afternoon where the championship leader is struggling. More troubles for Mark Martin just moments ago.
I'm told he made contact with Robbie Gordon in the 31 car. We see him go in the corner. There we see the contact. Just knocked in that left front fender a little bit on Mark's car.
Tried to cut across behind him and just wasn't quite cleared. Mark running in 20th place right now, and looked like the tire's rubbing on the fender, and he has stayed on track. So far, he's hanging in there. All right, Mr. Weber, time to go through the field. You're the leadoff batter.
Well, I thank you, Mr. Bestwick, and I just want you people scoring at home to know that we've been trying to do this since lap 30. It's lap 133, but we're proud to take it through the field right now. Starting with the race leader, Ryan Newman. His last pit stop, no tires. They wanted to take tape off the grill and make a chassis adjustment, and that's all they did. Ryan's on the same tires that he put on lap 78, but he's still leading. Marty?
Bill, last time Kevin Harvick took on only 2 tires. He was tight the run before, 2 runs before this, loose the run before this, and now it's the best it's been all day long. These guys really need a good finish. 4 finishes of 18th or worse, including 3 of 30th or worst. Dave?
Jimmy Johnson's car was not good getting into turn 3, so he adjusted his line a little bit and waited for the tires to come in. It's now better, he recorded on lap 123, just a little bit tied off. Marty?
Dave, Bill Elliott's in 4th. He came on the radio during the last caution, said this is the best set of tires I've had in a long time. Ray Evernham told him on the radio, you are the rocket ship today. This is the car that won Indianapolis and Pocono earlier for Bill this year. Jeff Gordon behind him on the track. Jeff said it's going to be hard for us to lead today because anytime I get clean air, my car gets loose and passing is very difficult today. He's driving the car today that won here last year, Bill.
4 tires on the last stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He says the changes that were made last time makes the car push up in the corners. Jr. asked the crew to please just make the changes that I asked for. As for Tony Stewart, just 2 tires on his last stop. He says this car is just a little tight under these conditions. Comes in off back-to-back, top 10 finishes. 3rd in the points, 3 wins this season. Tony looking for number 4. Dave?
Joe Nemechek, who ran the Busch race yesterday and got this place figured out very well, has a brake pedal vibration. They decided to help him by having him be a little bit easier on it. Joe, a little bit easier on the brakes getting into the corners. Marty?
Dave, the 99 car is in the 9th position, trailing leader Ryan Newman by 4.7 seconds you see on your screen. They say they're not keeping up with the track as good as they should. The track is getting tighter. Actually, that'd be 9.4 seconds. He wishes it was 4 seconds. They are not keeping up with the track. The track is getting tighter. A little too tight for them right now. Matt?
And his teammate Matt Kenseth has slid into the top 10, currently runs in 10th. This morning, Robbie Rogers told me they made 15 different changes trying to fix the loose end and tie it up. They've been still working at it today. The car is good in clean air as the 40 car makes a run past the 17, trying to get back into the top 10 as well. The 40 car, he was tight after some contact early in the race with Rusty Wallace, and they tried to free it up. They freed it up too much. Now they've worked their way back to tight, Alan.
Just past midway in today's Protection 1 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series at the Kansas Speedway. Ryan Newman leading Kevin Harvick by 1.9 seconds. Let's continue going through the field. Matt?
The leader's teammate, Rusty Wallace, currently runs in the 12th position. The car is still a little bit loose but his biggest concern, just the windshield. He keeps complaining about the windshield being dirty. He's trying to end that 54-race winless streak, Marty.
John Andretti's having a nice run. They have not had a top 10 since Sears Point way back in June. The car is a little bit tight. They took 2 tires last time. It's made it tighter. I talked to Kyle Petty this morning. He said that John has told him he will be back in the 43 car next year. Now all they have to do is sign the contract. Matt?
Marty, Terry Labonte was really starting to get on a roll late spring, early summer, but his last 7 races have been finishes of 30th or worse, trying to get back on some of that good momentum. Currently runs in the 14th position. Says the car is good right now and getting better. They took a spring rubber out of the left rear on the last stop. Meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer, Mr. Excitement, tight in, free off. He likes the tight end, but just cannot handle the free off. They're going to adjust that on his next stop. Bill?
Jeremy Mayfield continues to run well here. His car is just a little tight. Took 2 tires on their last stop. Jeremy Mayfield has just 1 finish better than 15th in his last 13 races. Dave?
10 car of Johnny Benson. Remember that 2-tire stop? It was not good at all. They took on 4 tires on lap 103. Then they saw smoke from the car and came in on lap 113. They had a right rear tire rubbing. They fixed a little loose condition with some wedge as well. Matt?
Looks like Stuart Kirby's got some problems out on the back straightaway, just as the leader Ryan Newman came by him.
Yeah, looks like the engine has expired.
Caution is out. I was just about to say, I was thinking to myself as we were going through the field there, this is about the longest green flag run we'd had so far in the race. And by the way, when Bill Weber said we've been trying to do this since lap 30, go through the field, reason why we hadn't been able to is every time we started to, the caution came out. Bill, we got halfway through it anyway.
Stuart Kirby, just 21 years old.
It'll be a tough day for him.
Yes, looks like it's. Looking at all that smoke, I would say it's terminal.
Yep. He already spent time in the garage earlier. He was involved in the first accident of the race back at lap 7. Spent some time in the garage getting repairs, 98 laps to be specific.
Yeah, Skinner's back on the track, so they must have fixed what nailed them.
Yep.
Looks like Todd Bodine is off the track.
Yeah, Todd is just behind the wall. That was while we were going through the field. Right. He pulled off. All right, pit stops, and once again, who gets 2 tires? Who gets 4?
I don't think Ryan's going to take 4 this time.
Newman, Harvick, Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Elliott, top 5. Ben Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, Nemechek, Jeff Burton, and Marlin, the top 10. Matty?
And the 10th place car, Sterling Marlin, comes in. They are going to put stickers on the car, no adjustments. He says the car has gotten a lot better, Marty.
Kevin Harvick is in running second, Matt. The car just a little bit tight. He said, here's what I want. ½ pound in the right rear, a bottle of water, and very small adjustments. Dave?
Tight center, tied off for Jimmy Johnson. Round a wedge in the right rear. 4 tires and an air adjustment. Bill?
Ryan Newman just a little tick tight. 4 tires and fuel, no adjustments. He wants the car to stay tight to the end of the race. Everybody can make it from here on 1 more stop. What they did this time sets up what they'll do next time if we stay green.
Man, what a race off pit road.
And what in the world happened to Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Had trouble on the left side. He would be one of the last cars off pit road.
Here's the camera at the scoring line at the exit of pit road. Watch the cavalry charge here.
Oh, Elliott, Gordon, and then it's looks like Harvick.
Yeah,
Jimmy Johnson,
and they're still coming. Newman, Kenseth, Marlin, 3 wide.
And we still haven't seen Junior. Still haven't seen him.
Sound like we should be waiting for the Jeopardy music.
Wow, he did lose a lot of spots.
Oh, something happened, like a wrench broke or something on the left side.
There he is.
Wow.
Timed that one with an egg timer instead of a stopwatch. We'll go back, follow up on what happened to Dale Jr. on his pit stop in a moment. Mark Martin stayed out, led a lap. Now he's on pit road. Green flag in the air here at Kansas Speedway. Bill Elliott is the leader. Jeff Gordon second. Kevin Harvick third. Jimmy Johnson fourth. Ryan Newman fifth. Then Matt Kenseth, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace, and Tony Stewart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. restarts 20th.
And once again, on those tires with the air pressure down, Bill Elliott's looked like his left front was smoking badly. And Kurt Busch, whatever happened to his engine, I guess it did break a rocker.
Look at all that smoke, BP. That thing is pouring out.
Has he made contact with someone and knocked the fender in? Or
No, I think he's the top of the tire is hitting the fender or where the hood is. And I think it's just a low air pressure.
That's what happened last time. You know, we saw Elliott on the restart. It went away in a couple laps. They must really have that pressure down, though.
Boy.
Oh, hard into the wall. Sterling Marlin, a vicious crash.
And he's coming down to the inside and stopped just before he got to the inside wall.
Caution is out. Marlin was in 7th spot.
All right, Sterling.
That was a hard hit.
Put us in the fence, Lawrence. 99.
Sterling Marlin had the hard crash at Richmond a couple of weeks back that he has been beaten up from and still trying to get over. Said today on Discover Card Countdown to the Green he was only at 90%, even after a few weeks from that crash. And now today he pounded the outside wall in turn 2.
I know that he has the breath knocked out of him. I know he doesn't feel like getting out of the car right now, because when you hit the wall that hard, as I've said before, all the air leaves your body, and it takes you about 2 minutes, it seems like, to get a breath.
Yeah, he had the brakes on when he was coming there towards the inside wall there.
Based on the action of the safety workers there, obviously they're talking to him, and here he comes. And that's what we were waiting for. That's a good sign.
So we know that he made contact with the 99 car. Let's see how it happened. There he's coming off the corner. And all of a sudden,
it wasn't the 99's fault on that one.
It's like once again that Mike Wallace, he started to run up on Mike Wallace and the car got loose or pushed or something, and he had to jump off the throttle a little bit, and that's when the 99 ran in the back of him.
It looked like he almost had to turn the wheel down. Let's watch it from this angle.
Watch the 40 car. The 40 car slowed up there at turn 2. I wonder if...
Well, I think he slowed up like Benny said because he was all over the 14 car.
I think the 14 car was why that he slowed up.
I'm sorry, I meant the 48 car.
Oh.
Jimmy Johnson was just in front of them, and he way woed up in turn 2 also, and then this happened behind him.
Dave, did something happen to the 48 car?
Well, his car was very, very loose on the beginning of that run on sticker tires, guys. And in fact, he radioed in and said, wow, is this thing loose? Marty?
Well, and Dave, a very dejected Jeff Burton came on the radio. He said, I did the best I could. I tried to get checked up, but I just couldn't do it in time. I did not mean to hit him, but I did hit him, but just barely.
Man,
what a crash.
We'll go on board with Rusty Wallace and see what he saw from inside the Miller Lite car and just listen to it.
Slowing in front of you. You're clear. Clear. Inside only. Inside only. Inside. Clear. Right to the caution.
I think in 99 they got into Sterling after Sterling was already out of control.
Well, Bill Weber said at the top of our broadcast, you can't win the championship today, but you could lose it. Sterling Marlin's title hopes have just taken a beating at Kansas.
Welcome back to Kansas, and a big development for Bill Elliott, who'd been one of the top 3 cars all day long. Ryan Newman, who was running around Bill Elliott, suggested that he come down pit road. The rub on the fender was too much for the left front, so they used this fender roller, and they rubbed it up on the top of the tire. That moved the left front fender up just a bit. Bill lost a lot of track position, but should not have a tire rub, and we're back to green.
Elliott goes from running up front to 22nd place by making that stop. Now Jeff Gordon is the race leader.
Kevin Harvick in second place drives down to the inside of Mike Wallace. Comes Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, that 97 car. He got a lap back the last time, and he's back up there trying to race with these guys again.
What about a guy 61 laps down? Up in there on the restarts, and I mean, what's his role?
Well, I don't agree with it. I mean, you know, if you're 61 laps down, what is the point? You're not going to make that time up. You're not even close enough, really, to anybody to. Next guy is what, 43 laps.
And he'll pick up several positions by the end of the race. I just mean on the double up and getting up in the middle there. And
oh no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't be up there.
Looks like the Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, is still a little bit loose as Jeff Burton goes by, Rusty Wallace goes by.
Rusty on the apron there, making some racing room for himself.
Nemechek going on the inside.
And Ryan Newman's got it rolling again. Inside of Kevin Harvick, that'll be second place. So Jeff Gordon leads. Newman is second. Harvick is third. Then the lap car of Kurt Busch. Then Matt Kenseth fourth and Jeff Burton fifth. Then you've got Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Joe Nemechek, and Jeremy Mayfield making up the top 10. And in fact, shuffle that up as Nemechek and Mayfield have gotten by Stewart.
Yeah, Stewart got a little bit high in 3 there. And those guys ducked underneath and took the spot away from him.
These two Hendrick cars are having a lot of trouble figuring out who wants this spot. Rick Hendrick owns both these cars, the 25 of Nemechek, the 48 of Johnson.
And Nemechek looking to the inside for 7th place.
Oh, Johnson really drove down the corner, but did it stick well enough? Doesn't look like it.
A little bit loose there, bobbled.
Benny, you talked about Hendrick Motorsports perhaps having a watershed day where the engine department's concerned. So far, so good. All of them in the top 13. And just to button up the story I started to tell on Nemechek before about not having a ride yet, he's not out of this car for next year. He's not in this car for next year either. He's got the opportunity to try and prove himself in these remaining races this season, but he's got to do it quick. Rick Hendrick's going to have to make a decision sometime soon.
Well, this helps. There's no doubt about that. He told us last week at Dover that he felt like that he would be able to compete here, and he is.
Now, the caution before the one involving Sterling Marlin. All right, before we do that, Matt's got Sterling Marlin. Matt?
Sterling just walked out of the infield care center. First off, are you okay? Because judging by what your crew said on the radio moments ago, it sounded like it was a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, it probably hit harder than Richmond, but I think it pulled some soreness out. So I'm not near as sore now as I was when we started the race. But, yeah, all the stuff done a good job inside the car, the Hutchins device. And I think a 99 got into us. I don't know, just hard racing, slow car. Checked up or something, he hit us. But they had a real good car. We was good as anybody, but Ryan finally got the car fixed, and it was really good on long runs. Just hated, hated the Coors Light Dodge, just hard racing part of it.
Now, this morning we talked, you were so optimistic about getting back on track in the title chase. This has to be such a hard hit, Sterling.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really hurts today. I thought today we would, judge the way the car was running, we had a good top 5 car and was going to gain back a good bit. Mark was having trouble and make it outrun Tony and Jeff. Yeah, we'll just race hard. It's racing, it's part of it, and stuff happens, and we'll come back.
What happened? Did your radio break because you gave your crew such a scare because they kept calling you and they never heard you call back?
I don't know. Probably pulled it all loose again and just couldn't hear.
Good news. Sterling Marlin's okay.
So Marlin is out. Now the 10th car out of this race. He could finish as far back as 34th. And he was 81 points behind coming in, but of course the race still going on right now, and it's going to get a whole lot worse for him before the day's done because he's still showing in 27th place.
Yeah, and he's going to lose several positions to these cars that have been in the garage area and back on the track making laps now.
And by the way, Todd Bodine has just been retired from the race also, so the 26 car's done.
Match?
Well, Benny, not good news for Sterling Marlin's championship hopes. Lee McCall, the crew chief, told the team to start loading the car. There's just too much damage.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be awfully hard to get that one on the racetrack and at any speed at all.
Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. started to say a minute ago, the caution before the one for the Sterling Marlin crash fell all the way back from 6th to 20th on his pit stop. Bill, what happened there?
Well, they were working on a 4-tire change and then going to send Junior back out, but they had trouble getting the left front tire on because the hub kept spinning, and that problem on pit road led to this conversation between Junior and his crew.
So, Junior, were you holding the brake pedal? Yeah. Can't put the stem tires on if you don't hold the brake pedal. The hub's spinning round and round. They can't line it up. You think I just forgot to hold the brake pedal 1 week?
And now the question arises, if Junior did have his foot on the brake, which he said he did, Wally, Benny, you got to put your foot on the brake so those wheels don't spin, because once you take your foot off the brake, the hubs turn, you can't get the tire squared, you can't set it on the studs, and you can't put the tire on and then tighten it. So if his foot's on the brake on that left front and it's spinning, there might be something bigger wrong there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm wondering is, how was the left front hub spinning if he had his foot on the brakes? It doesn't look like they use some brakes here, because I've seen on some of the tire changes when they take the front tires off, I see the brake dust on pit road. So they're using some brakes here.
And what makes it even more strange is it was only on the left front. Everything else went well.
And he's got another pit stop yet to go, so that could be interesting at the end of the day.
Yeah, but then if that's the problem and they don't know what it is, you would think they wouldn't change tires.
Yeah, that's true, Bill. Change 3. I don't know. We'll see. We'll follow that as we get to that final set of pit stops for Dale Jr. He's worked his way back up to 13th from 20th, where he restarted on lap 147.
The only thing I can think of is if he's got some kind of problem with the left front brake caliper. But he'd feel that going into the corner and getting on the brakes.
Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Gordon told us after crashing out of the Dover race last Sunday, he needed a victory. He needed to come back to Kansas and win this race just as he did a year ago if he was going to have a shot at the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. He fell 190 points behind the leader, Mark Martin, after that crash last Sunday, Marty. So far, so good for the 24.
They have definitely come in here with a new resolve today, Alan. And I talked to Robbie Loomis, the crew chief, this morning. He said he and Jeff Gordon had a long meeting in his office Monday morning. They decided to take every weekend as 3 battles. They wanted to qualify up front. That was the first battle on Friday. They wanted to get the car right on Saturday for the race. That was the second battle. And today, they want to win the battle. They know this race is very important. They have more horsepower than they've ever had here. And they know they need to win if they're going to win their 5th Winston Cup Championship.
That's unlike a lot of horsepower, Benny.
Nope. I don't know what kind of horsepower gain we're talking about, but 10, 15 horsepower makes a lot of difference getting around these racetracks.
You saw 8th place change hands between Tony Stewart and Joe Nemechek, with Tony moving up. And we are just past 250 miles in the race.
And my guess is that Hendrick Engines is not finished trying to find horsepower, because Wednesday night in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a restaurant, I saw 3 GM engineers in the engine department arrested very close to Hendrick Engines. So they're still working, trying to find power.
So are you insinuating they were working late evenings?
Yes, they were working very late.
Uh-huh.
And you're not going to drop the name of the restaurant? I can't believe it.
Jeff Gordon leads just past 250 miles here at the Kansas Speedway, hoping he'll get another victory and be back in the high life again. Back live at Kansas, Jimmy Johnson, 2nd in the championship, is just slowed on the racetrack.
I see no smoke. It's like it's a flat tire or something. Dave, what are they saying?
Jimmy radioed in. I got a flat or something. Now he just told the crew right rear, I believe. So they'll definitely change 2. Now they think it's the right rear instead of 4. And we'll just wait and see now. Remember, coming into today, 2nd in the points, trying to win the championship as a rookie, unheard of in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. They will clean his windshield as well, give him 2 tires to get off pit road. And leaving pit road, he spins the tires. Earlier today, Jimmy had trouble getting off of pit road, and he modified the way that he leaves. More RPMs, spinning the tires, and he leads cleanly this time.
He's gone 1 lap down already. They quickly hustle the tire away for a look by the team.
It may have a leak, but BP, it wasn't flat. So we'll wait to see what they say after they put a gauge to it.
All right, so Johnson has gone 1 lap down, and we'll check where he stands in things momentarily. So, how does that affect the standings?
Well, Mark Martin all of a sudden is not looking too badly. Tony Stewart looking even better.
Mark running 16th, Tony running 7th, Jimmy right now 23rd place, 1 lap down. Okay, so as we were saying, time for commercial break from Kansas. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Jeff Gordon, Irish Eyes and everybody else in the 78,000 here at Kansas smiling on him right now as he leads the Protection 1 400.
By about 2 1/4 seconds over Ryan Newman.
You saw the gap there growing between first and second. Got 22 cars on the lead lap, 10 cars in the garage area, and 1 more set of pit stops to go if the race were to run green from here to the finish. There's second place Ryan Newman. Updating Jimmy Johnson. Saw the green flag pit stop for him a moment ago. It's got him a lap down in 23rd place. Dave, what'd they find?
Alan, he is the first car a lap down. This is the hole that the crew found on the right rear tire. Remember, there's only 3/32 of an inch of rubber under here, and then, of course, the cording and everything else, but that much can win or lose you a championship. And now Jimmy has been very silent on the radio, has not said a thing since he's been back out, just trying to make laps and keep his car going. Hopefully get a chance to get his lap back late in this race.
Little things a championship can turn on. A little cut.
Well, that was a good call on Jimmy's part, and fortunately, it happened towards the back straightaway in a 3 instead of turn 1, or he could have even lost a lot more time.
So again, Johnson a lap down in 23rd place. Mark Martin in 14th. Tell you what, as many times as Mark's been on pit road today, for them to be running 14th,
yeah,
they have really kept after it. You got Tony Stewart in 7th, Jeff Gordon leading, and Sterling Marlin crashed out of the race a little while ago, and he's probably going to finish 34th.
All the caution flags we've had today has been the greatest thing in the world for Mark Martin, because, as you said, he's been in the pits every time the caution flag came out. He's made 2 or 3 pit stops. He and Ben Leslie have been talking, and they've been working on this car all day long, and they seem to have it a little bit better than it was at the start.
Next weekend, Mark hoping to take a lead in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship to Talladega, the EA Sports 500. There is nothing like a Winston Cup race at Talladega anywhere in motorsports. If you've never seen one, don't miss it. Matt Yoakum, how about the 6 car?
Well, you can't count him out yet, Alan. His times are very close to what leader Jeff Gordon is running. On his last stop, they pulled the rubber out of the right rear, and they topped it off of fuel on lap 151. Marks likes the changes they've done to the race car. He said, this car has started out on this run a lot better than it has all day. So he's very much liking the way the car is handling now, currently running back in the 14th position.
So there's Mark hanging in there in 14th, and Jeff Gordon on cruise control for the moment. And Bill Elliott, remember, he made that extra pit stop under the caution a little bit ago just to get that fender pulled out from the tire. Marty's picking those spots back. He was 22nd when he came off pit road.
Indeed, Alan, he did restart 22nd. He just took the 11th position on the racetrack. The car is very good. Bill has said nothing. Their goal now is they have to work through this traffic as best they can. They feel like this car can win the race. Look for this team to maybe try some strategy on the last stop. Maybe 2, maybe no tires on this last stop.
It's sitting here calculating fuel mileage in my head and so on, and if the race runs...
That's trouble.
Yeah, I know.
The problem that Elliott and a lot of these guys have is...
Thanks, Wally.
You know, if this thing, they got to have... He has to have a caution flag to have any kind of chance, because right now he's 18 seconds behind the leader. Jeff Gordon could stop, change 4 tires, and still be a long ways in front of Bill Elliott.
Yeah. A lot of track position there.
But we'll see how fast he is. Maybe we can check the speeds at the line. And
you know, I'll bet we can do that.
Let's see. Here
Just because you asked.
All right. Jeff Gordon obviously got the fastest time. Still has. Hey, how about Jeff Burton with the quickest lap so far?
Take that back through the top 10. Tony Stewart.
There's a lot of cars running fast all the way back to 8th, 9th spot.
And this is going to slow the leader down some. He's caught by the end of the field, and he's working into some lap traffic now. See Bobby Labonte's car damaged. Labonte involved in the first accident of the day way back at lap 7. He's on the racetrack
5 laps down.
5 laps down in 25th. Last car in the lead lap is at 23, Kenny Wallace.
Here comes Mark going by John Andretti, taking another spot, moves into 12th.
Yep. Tell you what, they pull a top 10 finish out of this today, they could really pat themselves on the back. It will have been hard fought, hard earned. Pit road and racetrack. Steady progress forward for Mark Martin. Now, back to my little fuel calculation thing I was talking about, Wally.
Okay.
And I did the numbers on paper just to make sure. They all stopped. The leaders did at lap 213. So if they run 70 laps from there, about the extent of the fuel window, that'd bring them all in. Let's check. They stopped at 143. 70 laps from there is 213. That leaves them 54 to go. You need a full fuel load for 54 laps. So I think we'll see about everybody take 4 tires then. So really, the strategy is going to be if there are cautions.
Yeah. If you're going to take the 2 cans of fuel, you may as well put 4 tires on.
Elliott in the 9 car moves up on his teammate Jeremy Mayfield and goes by him, puts him into the 10th spot.
Continuing the rally back from 22nd place after the extra pit stop at lap 150. $78 laps to go. Make it 77 now. Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, and the other front runners still with at least one more round of pit stops facing them that'll be coming up shortly. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Todd Bodine, Jeff Gordon heading for the inside wall.
So I tell you, our season's been pretty interesting. You know, it just seems like when, just when we seem to get some momentum things going, then it goes back downhill.
You won at Kansas a year ago. Can you recapture championship momentum at this point?
I'm going to have to, aren't I? Because if I don't win there, we got to get something going our way. We had a glimpse of hope for the championship, and these last 3 weeks have been horrible.
And that soundbite last Sunday afternoon set the theme for the entire week for this race here at Kansas. Gordon came here 1 year ago on his way to another championship and won. He comes here this week trying to get back into the race for the championship. 190 points out in 5th. He said he has to do well here, has to be able to win on a track like this where he's run well his entire career. So far, Jeff Gordon is performing pretty well. Let's take you through the field, and by gosh, Gordon's the leader, and that means Snyder talks first.
There you go, Bill, and the Jeff Gordon you just saw a moment ago is not the Jeff Gordon that can win championships. They've had 2 DNFs in their last 3 races. They know that's not the way to win championships. The way to do it, running out front like they're doing right now, a little bit too loose in the clean air for Jeff Gordon, Bill.
Ryan Newman looking for his 2nd career win. This rookie's had an outstanding season. They took 4 tires on their last stop at 143. There was some thought that on their next stop they might not take any. Ryan's a little tight right now. The tire discussion continues. Marty?
Kevin Harvick in 3rd. Fill-in crew chief Butch Hilton came on the radio, said let's add a ½ pound to that right rear tire, meaning he's a little bit tight. Kevin said make that a ¼ pound. We're really good, Butch. Behind him, Jeff Burton, the fastest car on the racetrack right now. He said we're definitely going in the right direction. I need to be a little bit more free, and then I can compete for the win. Matt?
Marty Rusty Walls is expected to pin about 6 more laps. He says he's found a good line through turns 3 and 4 that's helped improve the car's handling, which has been tight, but it's still extremely tight down in turns 1 and 2. They're going to make an air pressure and wedge adjustment. Meanwhile, the 17 car, we told you they made 15 changes before today's race, and much like Dover, they've worked on that race car all day, and lo and behold, it's in the top 6. They're talking about what adjustments to make. The car is tight right now, Bill.
Tony Stewart, currently running in the 7th position, says the car is turning much better now. It was a little free at the beginning of this run, but getting much better. Tony Stewart, coming off a big week after that grand jury in Tennessee failed to return an indictment. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had the trouble on pit road, go back to 16th in the field. Car's a little tight, and they will free the car up on the next stop. What this team needs is a good pit stop when Junior comes down pit road. Burns?
Johnny Benson has overcome a 2-tire stop that didn't work and a right rear tire rub. He now has a car that's just a little bit tight. They want to make a wedge adjustment when he comes in for his pit stop. Marty?
Dave, remember Bill Elliott fixed that fender damage on lap 151, restarted 22nd. He has rocketed through the field. He is up to the 10th position now, about 21 seconds now behind leader Jeff Gordon. But the car is very good. Look for Elliott on pit road around lap 210. Matt?
Mark Martin currently runs in 11th position. We told you he was on the move, and he still is very happy with the car. Although he says it started to go to the tight side again. He and crew chief Ben Leslie are discussing what adjustments to make. Remember, they did come in and top it off, so they can go a little bit farther than most of the other competitors, Alan.
All right, closing in on a set of pit stops here. Matt, for Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon and the other leaders. 66 laps to go. We are just inside the final 100 miles here at the Kansas Speedway today. Gordon leading Ryan Newman by 6.6 seconds, with Kevin Harvick an 8.3 second deficit behind, followed by Jeff Burton and Rusty Wallace. 17 cars on the lead lap now. Ricky Rudd and Jeff Green, along with John Andretti, have been overtaken by leader Jeff Gordon. Andretti, because he's on pit road now, opening the window of these final stops.
Jeff's car looks like we'll see Ricky Rudd just coming into the picture. Jeff Gordon passed him, put him a lap down just a moment ago, and
Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief. When he says that, when he's passing that information along to the crew with 3 laps before their pit stop, is that also maybe a floater to the driver saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. If you've got any objections, better speak up now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, usually they'll ask the driver, what's the car doing? What do you want to do? And then discuss it. It depends on what the driver crew chief relationship is. But yeah, that's definitely because if Jeff wanted more, he'd say it.
And today we've given a lot of credit to the folks at Hendrick Engines for the fact the DuPont car is running this well, but I think we also got to give some credit to Robbie Loomis and the crew, because yes, they have more horsepower, but the car is handling beautifully.
Rusty Wallace is in. 6th place car. Take that 5th place car. First of the leaders to make a move in, Matt.
Trying to end that 54 race winless streak and also give Billy Wilburn his first win as a Winston Cup crew chief. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. You can see Doug Ingold using that wedge wrench. They're going to top him off with fuel. They also made an air pressure adjustment in the right rear tire. Rusty said the car was tight. Robbie Fuller finishes on the left rear, and Rusty's gone.
Good pit stop, 14.5 seconds.
Now, as you watch the scoring ticker across the top of the screen, and we go through this cycle of green flag pit stops, those who have come in, their names will change to yellow in color, so you can delineate those who have stopped and those who have not yet on this round of pit stops. Johnny Benson's in. Dave?
Well, when Mike Kluka and Steve Jennebacher jump off the wall this time, remember that Steve, on the last stop, the tire carrier hurt his arm and they taped him up. He's back in the game. They will change 4 tires this time, get a wedge adjustment for Johnny. The car was a little bit tight. Marty?
Leader Jeff Gordon is in, Dave. They pull the tearaway off so he can see a little bit better. He is a little bit loose. They make a wedge adjustment. They also add a ½ pound to the right front tire for Jeff Gordon. A little too free in that clean air, but he really likes the car. Clean air is the best place to be here at Kansas. A little long on the left front, Bill.
Boy, Ryan Newman just missed hitting another car on pit road. No contact, a little tight from the middle off. It's 4 tires and fuel, 1 round of adjustment on the wedge to try and loosen him up just a little bit. Ryan Newman looking for career win number 2. Marty.
Kevin Harvick just left pit road, Bill. He had on stickers that last run. They put scuffs on this time. They think he's going to be faster at the beginning of a run. Quarter pound in the right rear, a little bit long on the left rear tire, though, for Kevin Harvick. Lost some time.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is coming in. Jeff Burton is the leader. He has not stopped yet. Remember, Jr.'s team had the problem with the left front hub spinning around last time, Bill.
And you can imagine the extra pressure on this crew to try and perform for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're pitting, obviously, right now, an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel. They take the tearaway off the windshield, around to the left side, a little longer on the right rear than they would have wanted. Jack up on the left front going on. Didn't seem to have the problem with the wheels spinning. Now waiting on the left rear. They did not have the stop they wanted, Marty.
Too tight for his liking. He wanted it a little bit tighter because it was a little too tight for him. They made a wedge adjustment, also an air pressure adjustment. It'll be 4 tires. They were the fastest car for much of that run. Problem is, they don't have the track position to catch the leaders.
Mark Martin now the race leader. And he slows in turn 4 and comes to pit road. And Kevin Harvick is coming in also. That's his 2nd stop. So something's gone wrong there for the 29 team.
My guess is a wheel has been left loose, not tightened down. We'll watch Mark Martin's pit, Matt.
And the point leader, Mark Martin, comes in for his final scheduled stop. This will be a 4-tire change, Marty. I don't see any wedge wrenches going in the back window. They're putting out scuffs.
Kevin Harvick came in and he had the long time here because they did not get the left rear tight. We talked about that. It was a long pit stop. They were trying to tighten the left rear on the first stop. Did not get all the lugs tight. He felt a vibration immediately on the track. Had to come back down pit road.
Kyle Petty, Robbie Gordon are now the top 2. When they stop, the cycle of pit stops will be completed. And the lead will go back to Jeff Gordon. There's Kyle. He's the leader. Something wrong for Jeff Burton?
Sure doesn't look like it as he comes up right behind the 23 car. Yep, it looks like...
on pit road. Recall is just on 9,050.
He overwound the engine.
Like we're going to be able to make him. Got 57 to go.
Did you hear him say over-rev the engine on pit road, leaving the pits?
And so Burton will fall back.
I have no idea. Okay, well, we are good to go. We are good to go on fuel. We'll just ride it out and see what happens.
All right. Until she blows, PP.
Yep.
Kyle Petty and Robbie Gordon have both stopped.
We did a great job today. We aren't going to get down about this. We did a great job today.
Jeff Burton being a cheerleader. Good stuff.
Yeah, man, we just keep doing the best we can here. We're going to be okay. Do all we can.
All right, so Jeff Burton right now hanging in there in 6th place, and we'll see how things shake out for him. Jeff Gordon had a 7.2-second lead on Ryan Newman when he pits. We'll check the gap from him back to Newman in a moment, but Newman's not the 2nd place car. Jimmy Johnson is the 2nd place car, and if a caution can come out now before he has to stop. Do I hear some lobbying about debris going on there? No. If the caution comes out before he has to pit, that'll get him back in cycle with everybody. But if he has to stop, he's going to fall behind again. And yeah, here comes the inspector out of Jimmy Johnson's pit calling up the control tower. Tower of the 48 reports debris. Yeah.
It's pretty hard to fool those guys when it comes to debris.
Yeah.
There better be evidence.
They're looking, but I don't hear them seeing anything. Listen, I'm monitoring the radio traffic from the NASCAR control tower on their circuit, and word is track is clear. Well, it was a nice try.
Hey.
So, Jeff Gordon's lead on Ryan Newman, 6.3 seconds. He held just about all of his advantage.
The real loser in that pit stop was the 29 car of Kevin Harvick having to come back in. Tony Stewart. What's going on with Tony, Bill?
Just had a routine stop, good stop, 4 tires and fuel to get to the finish. A slight air pressure adjustment. His car starts off a little free, but then comes to him deeper into the run. So a routine stop for Tony. He's going to go to the finish if we stay green.
Alan, you talked about if a caution should come out right now, Jimmy Johnson would be okay. He'd be back on the lead lap. But unfortunately, he would have to make a pit stop. And I'm not sure that these guys, many of them, would go in the pits. I think a lot of them would stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, I'll bet half of them would, though. You got 17 cars on the lead lap. If you're 8th place, 9th place on back, what do you got to lose by stopping?
Yeah.
You might.
Yeah, I think you're right, Alan. And you would be on the lead lap, so
but he needs a caution for that.
Yeah.
And he needs it in about the next 25 laps. Now, make it 15 laps.
Jeff Burton was still in 5th spot when those guys went by. He's now lost 2 more spots.
You're trying to narrow it down. You know, 15, 25.
Well,
I mean,
I'm going back over my numbers and calculating. You know,
I know that's what
the
the
math
problem
thing.
is.
Fine.
You're confusing Benny and I.
That's why you always want me to calculate the tip when we get done with dinner on Saturday night.
I have the. I know I was not good at math.
Matt Kenseth and Stewart, 5th and 6th place here.
Boy, Tony's keeping that car out on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yep.
And Kenseth can't, so.
Another one of those cars, PP. His front valence dragging the ground in the corners.
Last 7 races for Tony Stewart have been pretty good. Finished ahead of the championship leader in 5 of the last 8 races. And he came into the day 74 points behind Mark Martin in the Winston Cup standings. And he works and works and works on Matt Kenseth. You get one of these racetracks, Wally and Benny, that's kind of hard to pass on. And you really have to work hard to pick up a position on somebody when you're not clearly faster than they are.
Yeah, I mean, what Tony's trying to do here is just try to get close enough to the rear bumper of the 17 car to get him moved up the racetrack like that and be able to drive underneath him. You got to get a guy loose here. If your cars are even, the only chance you have is to get a guy loose getting in the corner so he'll slide up the track.
And hope that he can get close enough to you to repay the favor.
Exactly.
So Tony picks up 5th place and kicks Matt Kenseth back to 6th. So you're talking about getting close enough to somebody to move them up the racetrack. There's a term for that.
Yeah, here's what we talk about, the aero loose. If you're the guy in the front, guy in the back's going to pull up. He's going to get right on your rear bumper. He's going to take the air off the rear spoiler, as well as pack a little bit of that air underneath the rear bumper, which creates lift in the back, which basically takes grip out of your rear tires. When that happens, when you get down the corner, the car in front of you breaks loose, and you get the spot. That's a little bit exaggerated, but that's the concept.
2nd place here.
And Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon is in some heavy traffic, but Ryan Newman has gained about 2 seconds on Jeff Gordon in the last few laps.
Yes, he has. He's running a couple of tenths quicker a lap than Gordon, plus the traffic. What about the great Ray Bestis Rookie of the Year fight between these 2 guys?
Unbelievable.
And a good fight.
Ryan Newman is in front of Jimmy Johnson for the Ray Bestis Rookie Award, but behind him in the NASCAR Winston Cup points.
Yet if you're not familiar with how the Rookie Championship works, your top 18 finishes count, plus you get bonus points for wins and top 10 finishes. Johnson has 2 more wins, but they've each got 17 top 10s. The difference is Newman has 13 top 5s to Johnson's 6th, and those bonus points for those finishes right now weigh in Newman's favor. Well,
that was all she wrote.
And that would be the 12th driver to fail to finish today if Burton's headed for the garage. High this year,
back of the truck, I guess.
14 for the Daytona 500.
Come to our pit, across the start finish line. Come to our pit, we'll pull in our pit, push it behind the wall, lift the hood. Come to our pit, then across the line one more time. And we'll actually just pull right behind the wall. Flag him in behind the wall, guys. Flag him in behind the wall right there. Right there. That'll cross the line.
Well, they ran one more lap.
Everyone they can. So Jeff Burton is going to get 224 laps out of it today. And Jeff Gordon, as we check speeds at the line, let's compare Gordon and Newman once again. Gordon working that heavy lap traffic.
Yeah, but he's still, yeah.
Look at that. 3 miles per hour almost. Ryan Newman was faster than Jeff Gordon as Jeff tries to wade his way through that traffic.
But Ryan's going to have to contend with that traffic too eventually.
Marty, have they said anything in the 24 pits?
Yeah, remember, Benny, when we told you earlier about midway through this race, Jeff Gordon said, I'm worried about leading because anytime I get clean air, my car gets too loose. That's coming to fruition right now. Jeff said the car is extremely loose. He can barely handle it. He said it's junk right now, as a matter of fact. And if it goes like this, green like this, Ryan will catch us, and it will be very hard for us to win the race right now. He's asking for lap times from Newman and interval updates so he can keep up with how well Ryan Newman is running. And right now, Newman is running a lot faster than Jeff Gordon.
But these cars will, the crews tell me, the crew chiefs tell me, they will get faster. They will lose some of that loose feeling every lap that they run. They'll pick up a little bit more push.
Well, he's got 42, about to be 41 laps to go. Remember, I talked about his lead was 7.2 seconds before the pit stop. It was just a little over 6 seconds after the pit stop. 2.5 now. Newman is closing.
Now the question will be if Newman can get through this traffic better than Jeff Gordon.
All right, let's take a break. 41 laps to go here in the Protection 1 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series at Kansas Speedway. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Sprint presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Kansas on NBC. Down to the final stages of this one. About to hit the 350-mile mark of today's 400-mile race. Jeff Gordon trying to bolster his championship hopes after a few tough weeks at Richmond and at Dover. He's out in front here today, but Ryan Newman's trying to close in from behind. Speaking of tough days, Marty Snider's in the garage with the 11th retiree from this race.
And he climbs from the car, having just gotten the bad word that it is indeed a terminal problem. Jeff, said you were kind of experimenting today. It looked like it was going pretty well. Then what happened?
Well, we don't really know yet. It looks like obviously something broke in the engine, but obviously I'm disappointed. We had a great day today. We ran well all day. Real proud of the effort we put in. I hate I got into Sterling. I know people are going to say that I'm Mark's teammate and I did that on purpose, but people know me better than that, and I hate that happened.
Yeah, what happened there exactly? It looked like everybody just checked up in front of you guys.
Well, 14 was a lap down, and he was trying to get by him, and he had a run on him, and it looked like he had to check up, and I was a little better than he was, and I just didn't get checked up in time, and I feel awful about it. The last thing I want to do is be involved in the championship hunt. And, I hate that happening.
All right, and you did hear him on the radio tell his team they knew we were here today. They had a great car. Dave?
All right, the 48 car of Jimmie Johnson reluctantly giving up the 4th spot. There was no way that his 22.5-gallon fuel tank would take him all the way to the end of this race. They're going to give him 2 tires on the right side, increase the air pressures because the car is a little bit tight. They're also going to put around a wedge in the right rear as well and get it full of fuel. 2 tires are in. Jimmy, remember, better on his last couple times getting off pit road, and it's another great leave for Jimmie Johnson.
Now, getting back to that Jeff Burton deal, I think once he sees that tape, he's going to realize he didn't cause Sterling to get sideways there. Sterling was already crashing when he just touched the 40 car.
So Jimmie Johnson goes back a lap down. Didn't get the caution he needed to get back in the sync of things, but the good news there for Johnson is that Jeff Gordon is putting so many guys a lap down, he can still get a half-decent finish out of this thing. Right now, there are only 11 cars on the lead lap.
Right now he's in, 16th.
It'll take a second to shuffle out here. We'll find out right now. 18th spot.
So he should be able to pass a few of these cars before it's over with.
So all things considered, it might not work out all that badly for Jimmie Johnson.
And Jeff Gordon talked about, the car was bad and it was loose and what have you. It looks to me like watching these speeds as he runs these laps, that car is getting better and better because the car is going faster and faster.
Yeah. He started to open that gap up on Ryan Newman again. It was down to 2.5 seconds. It's up to 3 1/3 now, so he's starting to move away from him. Just joining us, let's give you our Pepsi race recap. Let you know what's happened today. Here at Kansas, went green a little after 12:15 local time before a sold-out crowd of 78,000 on an 85-degree late September day. Trouble started early, lap number 7. Tony Raines has a left rear tire get cut down, bounces off Ken Schrader, the stack up behind him in tight traffic. 9 cars involved in the crash. By the time it was all over, all the drivers okay, but some days ruined before it even got started. The spate of early cautions continued when Michael Waltrip had a flat and hit the wall at lap 20, lap 30. Jack Sprague, Morgan Shepherd involved in this crash along with Schrader off of turn number 2. That was yellow 3 before we got through 30 laps. Dave Blaney Caution number 4, lap 44 off turn 4. Lap 77, Greg Biffle. Definition of loose when the back end passes the front end. And Biffle found that out the hard way in the corner. This is the Steve Parks spin. Turn number 3 at lap number 112. That was the 7th caution of the race. We had one for debris in between the Biffle spin and that one. He thought Sterling Marlin might have had something to do with the accident. Lap 149 now. Sterling Marlin's hard crash that Jeff Burton was just talking about. The only one of the championship contenders to find real serious trouble today. A very devastating hit, but Sterling fortunately able to jump out of the car. He was okay. Lap 171, Jimmy Johnson. Second place in the championship, comes down pit road running 6th. Right rear tire cut down on his machine, falls to 23rd, down 1 lap. Has picked his way back to 17th. And that's the story of the day, the Pepsi race recap from Kansas City today.
Robbie Loomis watching the cars go around the racetrack. Crew chief for Jeff Gordon.
And watching the laps run out. Let's see, guys out of the race. Just to follow up on the recap. There you go. 7 crashes today. Not as bad as last year's race when there were 13 caution flags, but we're not done yet. There's still time. Cars out of the race. To follow up on the recap, Jeff Burton, engine problem. Marlin in the crash. Todd Bodine is out. Jack Sprague, Greg Biffle, Stuart Kirby. Ricky Craven had an engine problem. Then something knocked the radiator out of his car and cooked the engine. Dale Jarrett went out early with an engine problem. Just 40 laps into the race. Morgan Shepherd, Tony Raines, Casey Atwood, and Ward Burton all out in the early crashes. Heavy day on attrition here at Kansas City today. Marty.
Alan, this 24 bunch wants to win today very badly for several reasons. First of all, they want to vindicate themselves from their poor runs the last few weeks. They want to get back in the championship hunt, and they also want to prove that this is a very deep race team. For the first time in almost 4 years, they are racing without their former chief mechanic, Tony Gibson. He will now be Steve Parks' crew chief starting very soon. He left Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick Motorsports doesn't lose people very often, but this race team wants to prove that they are very deep, and even something very important like losing their chief mechanic at the end of the season with 8 races to go. They want to show they can still win this championship. Jeff Gordon is running out front. This is a very important race for this team, and here's the guys on pit road that put them there.
I'm Steve Letarte. I'm the rear tire carrier, and I'm from Cornish, Maine.
Jeff Cravey, gas man, High Point, North Carolina.
Caleb Hurd, Pet Can, Pulaski, Virginia.
Name is Craig Curione, front tire carrier from Sanborn, New York.
Todd Gant, front tire changer, Kannapolis, North Carolina.
Jeff Cook, I'm the jack man. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
My name's Shane Church. I change rear tires, and I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Race team is running well out front right now. The car a little loose for Jeff Gordon. Steve Letarte has been named the crew or the chief mechanic for Jeff Gordon. He has been here for 58 of Jeff Gordon's 60 wins. He's a young man, and the only reason he wasn't here for the first 2 wins wasn't old enough to get in the garage, guys.
Marty, what are they saying about the car? Is the car getting better as they put more laps on it?
It is still loose, BP, but it is coming to him. They're concerned, though, that Ryan Newman may be a little better at the end of this run. We'll have to see.
The car is still loose, but it's still the fastest car out there. So
by far the fastest car out there.
Yeah, he ran 0.3 of a second faster last lap than Ryan Newman, and that deficit for Newman on Gordon has grown to 4.5 seconds. So if he's got something, he better find it fast or hope for a caution flag that gives him another shot. What's going on with Mark Martin? He was up to 9th place. He's fallen back to 10th. Almost a full lap behind leader Jeff Gordon.
10-4, we're telling them, pal.
I don't know. We've seen 2 of the Roush cars have engine problems today. Kurt Busch broke a rocker arm very early on.
That lap, he was way off the pace.
And then the 99 car, Jeff Burton, had an engine problem just a few laps ago.
Mark's last lap there was a 33.8, so that's about 0.8 of a second off of what Jeff Gordon's running right now.
The inspector, I think, in Mark's pit just radioed to the control tower and said
there's something down in the backstretch. I saw it earlier when our camera was back there. It looked like there was something laying in the backstretch.
And that's what Mark is saying on his radio, and his crew chief is working the official in the pit wanting the debris caution.
There it is, right there.
Yep.
Oh, Jeff Gordon doesn't want to see this.
No, he
What
does
is it?
not.
Is it metal? Is it rubber?
Yeah, we can't tell from here. It could be a piece of tape. It could be, doesn't look like a piece of metal, but
That's what Mark is seeing. And the caution is going to come out for that piece of debris.
Out for debris off of turn 2.
And as they say, this changes
We got to tighten
everything.
We've adjusted air pressure big time in the right side and a couple rounds in the left rear. Dick, well, give me one more pound in the right front and a pound in the right rear from where we're at there.
Well, that answers the question.
Yeah.
They're going to pit with just a few laps to go, but now somebody's going to stay out there.
There's
Maybe 2 or 3 somebodies.
11 cars on the lead lap.
I don't care if you tighten that sucker way up.
This sucker is loose.
He wants it tightened up.
Oh, boy. Now you talk about pressure on pit road. Crew chief's got to make the call. Only 18 laps to go. You don't need a full tank of fuel. Do I get 2? Do I get 4? Do I stay out? Not come in at all?
Well, I think the guys, I mean, you look at Jeremy. If that was Jeremy, I'd be seriously thinking about it, but boy.
Jeremy Mayfield last on the lead lap?
Yeah.
Talking about
place, I would think, well, maybe I'll chance it.
Staying out.
Staying out.
Yep.
I would.
Okay.
But then, I'm not the crew chief on the 19 car. Glad I'm not.
But we are staying out.
Uh-oh, who was that?
That was Ryan Newman.
All right.
That could be the call.
What was it? It's the Busch Series race here a year ago where Jeff Green stayed out and everybody else pitted on a late caution, and he held the track position to win.
I think Jeff
Gordon's he coming in?
You think he's going to come in?
No, he's not going to come in. No, he did not come in.
Stays out.
Now, Tony Stewart. Those guys, 5th, 6th. Yeah, here comes Tony Stewart. Bill Elliott.
All right. Fourth place Stewart's the first one to come in. Top 3 stay out. Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, and Rusty Wallace stay out. Everybody else on the lead lap comes in. Now, 2 tires, 4 tires. What do we get?
I think I'm going 4.
Dave?
Johnny Benson radioed in. There aren't that many behind us. Let's come in and get 4. Car a little bit loose. Wedge adjustment to help that, perhaps. But I don't see the wrench. They'll just take the 4 tires. Bill?
Tony Stewart had to come in, and they just had to tighten up his car. They're using air pressure to do it, and a chassis adjustment. It's 2 tires, and Tony's on his way.
And he wins the race off pit road with Bill Elliott right behind him.
Oh, no. Championship leader's got problems, Matt.
The point leader has stalled. They're pushing him down pit road. The car will not refire. They're saying the car was on 7 cylinders about 4 or 5 laps before that caution came out, Alan.
Yeah, that's why the lap times were off so much, Matt.
Looked like I saw a lot of black smoke out the tailpipe on that 6 car.
Yeah.
Which means raw fuel.
Boy, it doesn't sound good, does it? Oh.
Boy, oh boy. 17 laps from the finish.
You guys in Livonia, Michigan, it will not be 8-hour days this week in the engine shop at Roush Racing.
Okay. Bill Elliott and Tony Stewart got 2 tires. Gordon, Newman, and Wallace, Rusty Wallace, stayed out, didn't pit at all.
Look what Mark's doing here. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but look at him on the dash.
He's flipping every switch he's got.
Is it off or is it still running?
I think it's running. I think he's just trying to go to back up. It has turned off.
Curiosity.
It has turned off. The car's not running, is it, Wally?
It doesn't. I mean, he was trying to hit all the switches and the starter and everything, but
I hear engine.
Yeah, but he's not revving it.
He's under caution, though.
But he's right back here. He's slow. Very, very slow.
Here he comes, guys.
Man, can you believe?
Now, he's trying to start the car. Man, that is...
Can you believe?
That is so tough.
16 laps from the finish. They worked so hard to get that car back up into the...
Last place running, 30 seconds.
Oh, Matt, they've got to be heartbroken.
The car is not fired. They're pushing it behind the wall. You could hear Mark ask how many cars are still running. Points in mind, knowing Sterling Marlin had a bad day. Some other championship contenders have had a bad day, and Gordon is leading the race. They're going to raise the hood and see what they can find wrong with it. This could be a big dent. Remember, Since 1991, when the season started that year, Mark Martin has led the points only twice, but he's never backed it up, leading consecutive races. He did it, but he may lose it here, depending on how the day ends, Alan.
Just looking at the scoring right now, if he doesn't run any more laps today, Matt, he's going to finish about 25th. A lot of the guys that are out on the racetrack, like Michael Waltrip and Jerry Nadeau, are 28 and 32 laps down. So some of those guys are going to pass him. It could be a little worse than 25th. It could be 28th or so. We'll see. Man, oh man, so close to the finish.
Usually when it goes down 7 cylinders BP and it dies, that's usually not fixable.
Not a good thing.
Got horsepower of another kind coming up next on NBC. It's the Road to the World Thoroughbred Championships. The top horses in the final tune-up races. Closing in on racing's richest day, the Breeders' Cup, October 26th. It's the Road to the World Thoroughbred Championships next on NBC. You know, they might have to hold those guys in the gate a little bit longer, because I think we might have a little overtime here at Kansas.
Parade them around the racetrack one more time. Let those folks see those beautiful thoroughbreds.
So Mark Martin is behind the wall with 16 laps to go in this race.
And the first 3 did not pit. Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Rusty Wallace.
I'll tell you the guy who's looking pretty good on this deal, Bill Elliott.
Yeah.
Sitting there with 4 new tires. He's got the track position back.
And he's restarting 5th. Here they come for the restart. There'll be 14 laps to go. The first 3, Gordon, Newman, and Wallace, did not pit. Then Stewart and Elliott took 2 tires.
Oh, he did?
Elliott took 2.
Okay.
Matt Kenseth has got 4. He's in 6th place. How about some drama for the finish of this one?
Now, Jeff Gordon is going to get an advantage because he's going to get to the bottom of the racetrack, and Ryan Newman will have to pass cars on the outside. So
one of them being a teammate.
Yeah, one of them being Jimmy Johnson.
And the old saying, cautions breed cautions. The field tightly bunched together. Things could go wrong for somebody in a hurry here. Almost did there.
Yes, they did. Tony Stewart and Bill Elliott did not get good starts at all. As a matter of fact, here comes Junior on the inside of Bill Elliott.
Tony Stewart's been having a little bit of trouble today on this restart. I don't know if it's a Gary.
Contact there. Junior nudges the back of Stewart. Everybody gets away with it. But it was close. Now, you just talked about Stewart having trouble.
I don't know if there's a gearing in the car or what, but I saw that at least one other time today.
And Tony still is losing spots as he goes back.
And remember, Tony Stewart, 3rd in the championship coming into the race. He's got to make sure this gets to the finish after Martin had his problems.
He's very loose. 20 is very loose.
And I'm sure with the tire change that they made, they took tires. They took 4 tires, right, Alan? And everybody come.
No, just 2.
Yeah, they took 2, right.
And he's gone back as far as he can go. I mean, he's back to 10th spot. And right now, only 10 cars in the lead lap.
Yep. Wow, look at this. If the race ends as they run now. Remember, Jimmy Johnson is a lap down in 11th place. Mark is behind the wall. Mark's going to lose a few more positions, though, if he doesn't get back on the track, so it is likely that we'll have a new championship leader at the end of the day. Jeff Gordon got away. All right, Matt.
They are saying the car will not turn over, Alan. Junior, any idea?
It's something in the valve train. We're not real sure. It's got something wrong with the valve train, upper end. That's all I can say right now.
Jeff Paxton, one of the lead engine tuners at Roush Racing. They have pushed Mark Martin's car back to the garage. He is done for the day.
Man. Now it's a matter of where he finishes. And with so many cars having spent time behind the wall, we'll have to wait till the end to be sure, but it's probably going to be 25th or worse for Mark.
And all those cars that stopped are not able to make any progress whatsoever on Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, and Rusty Wallace, the three guys who stayed on the racetrack.
And so the call by Robbie Loomis to leave Jeff Gordon on the track, maybe our Autotrader.com move of the race.
So far, he's still the quickest car on the racetrack.
And we could see that they were really indecisive on that move. Jeff wanted, he started to, should I? And at the last second, they decided to stay on the racetrack. And right now, with just a few laps to go, it certainly looks like the right move. Marty, Robbie's got to be a little nervous right now, huh?
Well, I don't know if how fast he chews his gum is any indication, but he's chewing the gum pretty fast. Is that your call or Jeff's call to stay out?
That was all Jeff Gordon right there. I was going to put right sides on. The thing hadn't been going good on restarts. He swung back out there on the racetrack, so he had a lot of confidence being out front.
And he keep the 12 car back there, Robbie.
Tell you what, we're just saying our prayers right now. You know, we got about 7 to go, 7.5 to go. We'll see what happens here.
And since they've restarted, Jeff Gordon has said nothing. Bill?
With Matt Borland, crew chief for Ryan Newman, you stayed out. Can you catch the 24?
It doesn't look like it right now. We're going to do everything we can, but he's a couple tenths quicker than us. But the guys have done a great job today. Ryan's done a great job. We just have to see what happens in the last few miles.
Matt?
Well, we've caught up with Mark Martin back at his transport, and you're trying to smile, but what a tough disappointment, Mark.
Yeah, I thought we were going to finish this bad, but run that bad. We actually ran real good on the long runs. We were just pitiful to start. And man, we were looking at a real sweet finish there, but we couldn't make it all the way. And not for any abuse on our stuff, man. We babied that thing all weekend. Never turned at any RPMs or whatever. So it just made up its mind it wasn't going to go that far, and it didn't.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark Martin out, caution flag out. Multi-car accident, turns 3 and 4.
And
Jeremy Mayfield, Ricky Rudd, Johnny Benson's in it, and Jimmy Spencer.
And JB, we got a little fire back there in the back. So if I were you, I think I'd be getting out as quick as I could.
Now, we just took the 6 lap to go, Mark. Leaders are going to come back around to 5 laps to go. And they're going to put the red flag out when they get down to turn 1. They're going to gather the field up behind the pace car and red flag this race, and they're going to rack them up again for another shot at the finish.
Wow.
Same thing that happened a year ago in this race, guys. Red flag at the end.
Yep. There's Mayfield.
Ricky Rudd, some of those cars really hit the wall hard up there in 3 and 4.
And some of these guys were guys that were on the lead lap, like Benson, and in position for a good finish.
Well, the Rudd's car's rolling. I thought that must have him confused with someone else.
Yeah, it's Spencer's car. It's the other one I think you're looking at. So, there's Jimmy. The bunny did not keep going and going until the finish of this one. Got caught up in a wreck. And he's hanging around. Is he hanging around the racetrack to say hi to somebody? All right, the field has been stopped as Ricky Rudd and Jeremy Mayfield bring their cars back around. And we are under the red flag with 5 laps to go.
See Rodney Wise holding that red flag, signifying to all the fans that they are going to see this thing end on the green.
Benson under Spencer.
Yeah, Benson looked like he slid up the racetrack and caught the left rear of Jimmy Spencer, and then everybody else, or a few of them, didn't have anywhere to go. Looked like Johnny was chasing up the racetrack a little bit, and unfortunately Spencer was there.
I saw the 28 car go up and hit the wall, and I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. I thought he really pounded it, but
Benson was the one the back end gets caved in so heavily on.
He's the guy that really pounded. There's where I see Rudd hitting the wall, and I thought that much worse than it was, but Benson, yeah. Jeremy gets in the back of Johnny. John Andretti just barely gets through Tony Stewart.
And another look. We got this covered from all angles.
Looks like Benson would have got away with it if Jeremy was there.
Wrong place, wrong time for Jeremy and Ricky.
Well, let's try. Surely one of these cars has an onboard camera. We can see the wreck. Ha! Jeremy Mayfield.
He almost cleared it. I don't like that sound.
No, that sound is not a good sound. It looks like they finally have the fire extinguished.
Yeah.
Well, not yet.
A couple of badly damaged race cars heading back to the garage, adding to the attrition list. So we're under the red flag with 5 laps to go. Red flagging these races been debated back and forth by some of the drivers over whether they like it or whether they don't like it.
This is definitely the way to go.
I think so.
I mean, you got 5 laps. That's enough laps. All these people are here to see the race end under green. They didn't sit here all day for to finish under the yellow. So this is definitely the right call. But
I mean, folks,
I know Jeff Gordon doesn't want to see this. But,
oh no!
But it's still the right call.
And folks will say, why don't they just run more laps? Well, that's kind of hard to do, to run more than 267 laps or whatever the prescribed distance is for a race. Red flag is probably the best way to do it.
Remember back at Daytona, the Pepsi 400, when the race did end under the caution flag and the fans littered the backstretch with debris while the drivers were running around to the checkered flag, because they expect now these races to be red flagged, and that one wasn't.
And trust me, next year if the Pepsi 400 goes up exactly the same situation, it will be red flagged.
NASCAR's reason for not red flagging that race was that there weren't enough laps left to stop the race, properly restart it, and have more than a 1-lap shootout to the finish. Yeah. The fans don't know that, though.
Well, that's right. They just wanted to see a Daytona race to the checkered flag on the green flag.
But wouldn't you say Daytona's a little bit different on a restart with a few laps to go than a place like this?
Oh,
because
yeah.
everybody can get 3, 4, 5 wide at Daytona, and that's a trickier call to make than on a place like this, which is a 1.5 miles. They're all going to be starting single file.
Well, I mean, NASCAR had safety in mind when they did not throw the red flag at Daytona and have a 1-lap shootout for the cash, because it would have been a dangerous situation.
And I don't think any of the drivers disagreed with that call at Daytona, but this is a different animal here.
I think just what some people would like to see, myself included, is some sort of a chart, so we know whether to expect the red flag finish or not. What's the cutoff line at each racetrack where we know what we're looking at? I think that the fans would like to know that. I think the teams would like to know that.
Yeah, that they need to have a sheet when they go to when they go to Martinsville. They say, okay, less than 5 laps to go, we'll have a red flag. Bill, what's your take on this?
I think in the interest of the fans, they put out the red flag because you want to give them the best finish. If that's a green flag finish, as it appears will be in this situation, that's fine, but a green flag finish would not have been the best finish for the fans in the Pepsi 400. So obviously you want to end it under green if that's the best finish you can give the fans, or the best situation for a finish.
I agree with Bill. Other than it may have been a heck of a finish at Daytona, but not the one we would have seen.
What do you mean the fans would have liked a green flag finish, Bill?
It wouldn't have been in the best interest of the fans, because what they probably would have seen, Benny, in all likelihood, is a bunch of wrecked race cars and somebody limping home to the finish.
Absolutely.
If the fans go to Daytona and they know what the hard, fast rule is for a 2.5 mile track, for a 1.5 mile track, for a 2 mile track, for a short track, then they go to the track knowing, okay, if it's 267 laps on a 1.5 mile track and the caution comes out on lap 261, they get them red flagged on 262, man, that's going to work. And that's going to work some other places too. But it's not going to work every place, because not all tracks are the same.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's got to be different at every place. You don't want to do it at Talladega. You don't want to do it at Daytona. But most of the other places, you can get away with it.
But now that you've created the expectation among the fans to get the red flag, and you don't do it, now they're let down. So you've got to tell them the circumstances in advance, is my point.
Bill, do you mean to tell me that you think the fans did not want to see a bunch of wrecked race cars?
That's not why I go to the races.
No, me either. No, me either.
Yeah, so that would not have been in the best interest of the fans.
Me and you. But if we poll those 150,000 people at Daytona, we would not be in the majority, Bill.
I think you'd be surprised. I think those fans that go to the Daytona races and Talladega races and all races, I mean, they go to see good racing. I don't think the majority of them anymore go to see the wrecks. I think that's an old adage that was used around the sport for a long time. I think now you go to see good racing.
I hear a poll coming up, don't you?
I certainly do. NBCSports.com. Are you listening?
Yes.
But come on, you don't really believe they're sending those guys around for. We did that one year, right? In the Pepsi 400, the year Andretti won, and Ward Burton, I think Mark Martin made contact in 3, and 20 cars that were in perfect shape 18 seconds earlier were in a wad on the backstretch, and that's not the way you want to finish a race. You can't go green for one lap at a restrictor plate race.
I saw Rusty Wallace go in for in on the same situation at Talladega.
I saw that out of my windshield.
Yeah. So, I don't want to see that situation, Bill. But again, I think it's interesting to see what the fans do want.
All right, bottom line is red flag today, right call. Right for the fans.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to seeing the finish, and we hope there aren't any more wrecked race cars.
Now, if you put in that poll, if you ask Breeders' Cup fans, do you want to see races red flagged at the end? I know how they're going to vote.
Exactly, see?
Very nice. Very nice. All right, speaking of the horses, why don't we check with Tom Hammond on what's going on as we get set for the road to the World Thoroughbred Championships. Tom, how about the 1 horsepower guys? All right, Tom, we'll get you to the starting bell there as quick as we get to the checkered flag here in Kansas City. Under the red flag, Jeff Gordon leads. Ryan Newman's going to get another shot at him. The advantage Newman will have on the next restart. No lapped cars to the inside. NASCAR rule, inside of 10 laps to go. Only the lead lap cars line up single file at the front of the pack. And not having those lap cars to the inside's got to be a help to him.
Oh, it's a huge, huge advantage because now he's able to drive in turn 1 right on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon and try to get the thing loose.
Rusty Wallace there running 3rd. Sitting inside his race car after a long, hot afternoon of racing.
Let's see if we can talk to some of these guys. Ryan Newman, Benny Parsons, you got me?
That would be a no, I think.
Silence is a no. Let's try it again. Ryan Newman, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Hear you, Benny. You hear me?
All right, buddy. You got anything with that 24 car?
Well, we got a restart. That's about all we got right now. He's definitely faster. We're just trying to see what the restart's going to bring. You never know with the restart here with about 3 to go.
Have you talked to Rusty on the red flag?
Talk to him a little bit, just make sure we treat each other right so we can stay in this points deal.
Ryan, good luck to you.
Thanks, BP. How many times you mentioned the Alltel Ford up there today?
Well, we've mentioned it a couple of times. You know, you've been running pretty good.
Yeah, we've been all right. We're just trying to take care of this 24 car here.
Well, let's see what happens. You know, now you're not going to have any cars to the inside. You're going to be right behind him on this restart.
Yeah, you got any tricks for me?
No, I really don't. How is your car too tight, too loose? How is it right now?
Can't tell you that, Benny. You mean you're going to tell everybody?
No, I wouldn't tell the soul. Just me and you, buddy.
Nah, I think I'll refrain from talking about that this time. But we'll just see what we can do with them. You know, it's one of those things where anything can happen.
Well, good luck to you, bud.
Thank you.
Second place man Ryan Newman sitting inside that 12 car, waiting to see if he can do anything with Jeff Gordon and pick up a win today.
Hey, Benny.
Yes.
His car's a little tight, and that's why he talked to Rusty to make sure that Rusty was aware of that, because he's going to do everything you can to pass the 24. but don't tell anybody, okay?
Okay, I will not mention to anyone.
What's everything?
Well, you should answer that question. Oh, wait a minute. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say that to you.
Okay.
I knew it was coming.
Got Dale Earnhardt Jr. running 4th.
And he's got a very good race car right now.
Yeah.
And he has fresh tires. Top 3 doesn't, right?
You know, just thinking back to one of these late race restart situations Ryan Newman's been in recently, BP. How about Watkins Glen? Remember on the road course there? He had a chance at Tony Stewart coming to the final bell, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
Since we're thinking horse racing here ahead a little bit.
Oh, yeah. The restart point. The restart point.
Here it was on the road course at Watkins Glen when Stewart got the jump on Ryan Newman, and Ryan's chance to make a last lap pass on Tony went away before they even got the last lap started.
Yes, Tony Stewart goes down and comes off turn 11 with the win. And Ryan Newman not able to gain any, but looked like he stayed about the same thing.
I don't think anybody else would have done anything different.
There you see, there's the cone. But Wally, that's right. But it's a rule.
Yeah.
It's a rule. And you got to abide by the rules. That's how the society, that's how we get by. We all follow the rules.
Some of us.
Benny circled the cone. That's for our benefit on the outside of the fence. On the inside wall, there's the cone.
There's what here's what the drivers see.
Don't fight over the telestrator, boys.
The double red line. That's what the drivers see. That's the point that the leader, somewhere in the area of that. Now, again, it's not that specific. It can be here, here, but NASCAR does not want to see it back here because yesterday in the NASCAR Busch Series race, someone was black flagged for not following the rules, Wally.
Rule says in the vicinity of
I don't remember.
Jamie McMurray.
Jerry, that's it.
In the vicinity of the double red lines on the outside wall. Marty, what do you got?
Well, in the race car, Alan, Jeff Gordon is not feeling so hot, actually is feeling very hot. The heat is getting to him. It was getting to him before the red flag, but now that he's had to turn off his car, he no longer has air conditioning. So what he's done is he's taken off his helmet, so it's kind of laying on his Hans device behind Jeff Gordon. He is very hot in the race car and is starting to affect him, so that may play a factor here at the very end of the race.
Yeah, that car we call like heat soaking. Everything hot in that car now is stopped and it's just coming straight up inside that race car.
That's all he's feeling is the heat.
It is hot up. There we go.
Here we go. Start them up, boys.
All right, drivers being told to fire up the cars. Now, next question before we get to the restart. Anybody going to pit? No.
I don't think so. They're going to start with 3 laps to go.
9 cars on the lead lap.
Tony Stewart might.
Stewart's back in 8th. Dave?
Well, a guy with a car that may not win today actually does not have much of a chance to win, but has a lot at stake is the 48-car crew chief by Chad Knaus. And I want Chad to weigh in on the red flag situation here. This probably may affect you guys as much as anything, this red flag thing. What do you think about this policy?
It's a touch and go. If you're sitting second on the racetrack, of course you want the red flag to come out. If you're leading, you don't. The problem that I've got, especially on a track like this or a track like Talladega, it just bunches everybody up. Everybody gets real excited and amped up, and you know that's when accidents happen. So, you know, hopefully we can get this thing done, 5 green laps, and you know just be done with it and go home.
On balance, if you come out of here the points leader, are you going to be happy with today?
Yeah, you know, we definitely had the low Chevrolet fast enough to where it could have won the race, and it's disappointing that we cut that right rear tire down, but that's part of the game. We haven't had any tire trouble all year. We think we cut it when we were leaving the pits when Jimmy was doing his burnout, and it just developed into a bigger cut. Yeah, if we walk out of here in the top 10, I'm going to be happy because our goals are only the top 15. So, you know, we definitely met our goal.
All right, Jimmy's car right now sits, as I look at the screen here, 10th, 1 lap down, guys.
All right, 9 cars on the lead lap. Here they come to the open pit road and the 1 to go signal.
All right.
Do we have any takers? First and second are gone by.
Is that Elliott or?
Like Elliott.
Bill Elliott?
Bill Elliott's in.
Tony Stewart is not going to stop.
Yeah.
Just Elliott.
That's it.
Bill's the only one. He was 7th. And he's going to come down pit road. Now, Jeremy Mayfield is also on the lead lap. He's got that damaged nose to his car, so even if he pits, he's not a factor over these final couple of laps.
I don't think Tony's car was very good on new tires, so he probably decided to stay out because he figured if I come in and put new tires on, I'm going to be slipping around for 4 or 5 laps.
All right, and they're going to get the green next time by.
Yep.
3 laps to go.
Now, NASCAR, just before they rolled the field off from the red flag, warned the Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, and Rusty Wallace teams to tell their drivers to stay closed up together. No games on the restart. Restart where you're supposed to. And I'm paraphrasing, but
okay,
they gave them the warning.
Okay. If I remember correctly, those warnings were issued at Watkins Glen, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think they're going to come down on them a little bit harder this time.
They're passing that warning on all the way through the lead lap, guys, right now. And trying to get Bill Elliott into his spotted line because he's a lead lap car. He comes up front. And next Sunday, Talladega. Need we say more? If you're a NASCAR fan, you know. Greatest show on wheels, 12:30 Eastern Time next Sunday on NBC. 3 laps to go will be the restart.
Dog tracking into one there on the apron, BP.
It's Ricky Rudd. He's got that damaged car from the wreck. All right, here they come. Watch for the restart. Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman. Green flag is up.
That was a pretty good restart, Benny.
Yes, it was.
Pretty fair and square.
Little block in there.
Earnhardt Jr. blocking Kenseth. And Gordon with a good couple of car length advantage. Another tough restart for Tony Stewart, BP. He's slipping around. It's back there in the 20.
And Nemechek on the inside goes by Kenseth to take over this 5th spot. And here comes Elliott with those 4 fresh tires.
Two laps to go. Jeff Gordon got to make it around less than 3 miles now to try and pick up another win and bolster his chances for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Mark Martin is out. He's going to finish 25th today. Sterling Marlin's going to finish 33rd.
If Jeff Gordon's car is as loose as he's been saying, he does not want Ryan Newman to get close to him because it will get looser and looser.
Jeff Gordon's got one eye on the racetrack and one in the mirror right now.
Here they are, white flag, final lap at Kansas. Jeff Gordon came to this race 1 year ago and picked up the victory. Was part of his stretch drive toward winning the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. After not finishing 2 of the last 3 races, a Dover crash a week ago and a Richmond engine failure, he said he needed a strong run today to get back in the title fight. He's done it. Jeff Gordon wins the Protection 1 400 at Kansas. His 3rd win in the last 6 races and his 2nd straight at the Kansas Speedway.
Great job by you guys. Wonderful job. You be careful of that thing, Jeff.
Randy Dorton, the engine man, said, don't do those burnouts and hurt that engine. Marty?
Well, Rick Hendrick, that was pretty impressive. After a couple of bad weeks, it looks like you're back in it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I told him during that break, I said, if I had anybody out there with 5 to go, man, you're the man. So it's good to bounce back like that, and I think the points deal's really tightening up again, so it's going to be a heck of a run here to the end for everybody.
All right, you might win this championship after all, Rick.
Thank you, thank you.
There you go. Rick Hendrick and this entire 24 team head to victory lane.
Jeff Gordon going to come down and do the victory celebration. Let's see how careful he is with it today.
Jeff, now you heard Randy. He said be easy with his engine.
He's going to do it in the grass.
That's a good idea.
Nah, oh yeah, okay. I think we figured he'd just change his mind and was going to go to victory lane, but I guess not.
If Randy said, Randy Dorton, that's the man in the engine shop. He said take it easy. You better take it easy.
Jeff Gordon's today's winner, and Chevy congratulates Jeff and the number 24 Monte Carlo. Jeff will tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. More champions depend on Chevy. We'll be there. Jeff Gordon wins, Ryan Newman is 2nd, Rusty Wallace 3rd, Joe Nemechek with a great 4th place finish. Season's best for him. In fact, his first top 10 of this year. And Bill Elliott came back for 5th. And championship standings, new leader, the rookie, is at the head of the pack. And Matt Yoakum is with Jimmy Johnson right now.
Well, Jimmy Johnson brings home a 10th place finish. You didn't win the race, but maybe some good luck. You took over unofficially the points lead for the first time in your career.
I was wondering why everybody is standing around. There's more media people here than probably out on victory lane with Jeff. That's great. You know, unfortunately, we had a flat tire. It cost us and we got down, but we had a great race car and a great team, and we weren't going to let it get us down. We were a little loose on the starter runs, really run for the guys for the lead, but at the end of a run, we'd come on, but we just bought them too much track position in the beginning. But this is what we needed with the Lowe's Monte Carlo. I want to thank everyone at Hendrick Motorsports and Lowe's and their employee owners for their support. And who knows? We'll see. It's been a bad place to be in leading points these days. Everybody keeps having trouble, so hopefully we can just take it and hang on to it.
Well, he didn't win the race, but he's so far won the points lead at this point. Maybe I can get a vote for that one. Dave?
Ryan Newman finished 2nd today, trying to chase down Jeff Gordon at the end. Ryan, what didn't you have?
Just speed. I mean, it was fast. Clean air's so huge here, as you saw. We struggled. Both Jeff and I struggled back in the pack, and once we got up front, we were fast, and we could stay there. And this is a good run all day for the Alltel Ford. You know, happy to finish second. Not happy we didn't win, but you know, we had a car that was capable of winning, and we were there, and we showed our stuff. You can't win every day.
Well, and the crew radioed him as he was coming in. Another top 5 for them. They're having a great year. Alan?
All right, while we wait to talk to Jeff Gordon, here's how they ran today at Kansas.
9 cars in the lead lap. Jeremy Mayfield will limp home in 9th. In the lead lap, Jimmy Johnson, as you see, 1 lap down, finishing 10th.
61st NASCAR Winston Cup win for Jeff Gordon.
17 cars, 1 lap down or better. Then Elliott Sadler, after that fourth lap crash, comes back to finish 18th. And there you see Mark Martin in 25th. Going into the race, the championship point leader comes out in 2nd spot.
Sterling Marlin finishing 33rd. 13 lead changes among 10 drivers today. 11 cautions for 52 laps. And 15 drivers failed to finish a season high for 2002. Let's go to victory lane, Bill.
Well, last Sunday afternoon at Dover, Jeff Gordon crashed, fell out of the race, and told us in the garage area he wanted to go to Kansas and win. And guess what? He did. Now he looks for car owner Rick Hendrick. Crew chief Robbie Loomis has already been here to congratulate him. He told us as he was sitting in the car he feels okay. Very hot, but feels okay. Well, I know you didn't want to see me last week in the middle of that race at Dover, but you said it'd be a more pleasant meeting here at Kansas. At least that's what you were hoping. And by gosh, it worked out. Congratulations.
Yeah, I kind of put my foot in my mouth last week, said we had to win and had to back it up. But this team, what an amazing job they did. They really did a lot of work coming into this event. Went off a lot of notes we had from last year. Never gave up. Great horsepower underneath the hood of the DuPont Chevrolet. Man, I'm exhausted. I was fine until they threw that red, and I knew they were going to throw the red, but I didn't realize how hot it was when we sat over there. And I think all of us are pretty exhausted, but what a great victory for the DuPont Chevrolet. I want to thank Pepsi, GMAC, Fritos, Delphi, Lowe's. Oh, man, everybody that Haas, EDS, everybody makes it happen. I'm just completely worn out, and got Tyvek on the deck this weekend, too. Happy to have them.
Did you know that Mark fell out?
I saw that he had problems, but I didn't know what it was. I saw Sterling had, you know, every time those guys have had trouble, so have we. So I didn't want to put too much into it. I just wanted to go out there and run our race, and you know, what a great race it was, man. I'm just so proud of these guys, and thank God for just a great, safe day, and that thing was on rails, man. I tell you, I was loving it. I wish I could be more excited, but I'm just completely whooped right now.
That's okay. Congratulations. 2 Winston Cup races at Kansas, 2 wins for Jeff Gordon.
And back in the thick of the fight for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern on NBC, the EA Sports 500 from Talladega, starting with Discover Card Countdown to Green. Gordon wins at Kansas, 7 races to go. It's going to be a terrific fight for the Winston Cup title. Let's go to horse racing.